Thank you.
And we're also allowed to do hands?
Yes, to say next.
Okay.
Right.
No, we're not doing.
Okay.
Is it WHINE?
All right. There's a lot. Are we online now? Okay, sorry. We are recording. Welcome, everybody. This is Manhattan Community Board 1. This is the full board meeting, our monthly full board meeting. Today is October 24th, and we're calling the meeting to order with quorum at 6:18. We thank you for your patience if you've been waiting. We start, as always, with our public session. So let's open up and let me find the link. So we have, what time was that link sent today?
4:12.
Okay, so we can call people who have signed up to speak. If you're in the room, please scan the QR code to make sure that you've signed in for attendance. We must have everybody who has signed in here. If you are online, please make sure that you have signed on through the portal to speak. We'll do our public hearing after the public session. So far for the public session, I have not having people. Okay. Let me just see. We might be with people. Okay, is Carrie here in our public area? Carrie wants to speak. Should we find her? Carrie, we're looking for you in the attendees section. Not seeing Carrie. You see Carrie? Carrie, you here in person?
Myself.
Okay, not seeing Carrie here, as a member, we'll go to others and then see after that. All right, Bob, are you speaking?
Yeah,
Okay, Bob Townley, you are next. Thank you.
thanks. I'll take a minute. I didn't realize that this table was back here. So now that we're back in person, I haven't done this in about 4 years. I'll pass it around if you don't really want it. It's best to on to your neighbor. It's just gives you a broad review of Manhattan youth. It started here at Community Board 1 with Mr. Goldstein and Lucy writing my grants. Unfortunately, they weren't around to write this. Right now at 3 to 5 o'clock in Community Board 1, we're taking care of 1,800 children south of Canal. And it started here in Community Board 1. And we have a lot of different services. We grew, I grew, and so I just wanted everybody to get an idea of what you can't do anything without the community board and community participation. It happens in every community, and it's what happened down here. So I'm happy to take any questions after the meeting. Tammy, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. I do see Carrie online, and I see your hand up, so we'll go to you next. Carrie? You should get a request to be unmuted. See her? Carrie, you can unmute yourself. There you go. Welcome.
So I couldn't speak. So I've never attended one of these, but obviously I'm a member of the public. And so I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. Am I permitted to come here and just tell you what I wanted to talk about?
You are, but since you're here now on the phone, this is your opportunity. So next month, you're certainly welcome to come in person if you would like. This month you're here and online, so please feel free to speak up.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Hi, my name is Carrie. I'm from Long Island originally. I live in the financial district now, down at Wall and Water. I'm an attorney. That's just a little about me. I've been living at my current apartment, 95 Wall, for about a year. Um, since February, I'm not sure if you're all aware, but there's just been this construction all up and down Water Street, and some of it is directly outside my apartment. Um, so I called 311 like 3 to 4 times. Didn't get many answers. Recently, I found out that they at least have a permit till December to do that. So basically, I just wanted to come here to see if anyone else knows any information about it. I just wanted to speak more on it, bring it to your attention. But construction, it's basically every day and almost every single weekend, which I thought needs a special use permit, yada yada. But from February to December seems crazy to me, and it's been really impacting my life. So yeah, that's my story.
Well, Carrie, welcome. I'm delighted that you came. We would actually encourage you to come to our quality of life meeting. If you found us through the website, please look at the agendas for quality of life. Those are DDC projects, which is city projects working on some of the lines and things like that. And some of the projects with the Downtown Alliance, they do come every other month. So they'll be back in November to talk about the projects, and you can hear how far along they are, what you can air your grievances and concerns about the times that they operate, and find out what the plan is and when they'll be done. So please check it out, and you're welcome to attend those either in person or remotely, whichever works for you and your day.
Okay, sounds great. I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
All right, have a good day.
Too. Okay, with that, I see Ruth Santana from Lingoneering Consultant. Did you wish to speak during the public session? If so, Ruth, please put your hand up. I see her. Okay. Not seeing her hand up, moving along to, I don't have anyone else from the public, so we could.
Hallelujah.
Oh, Graham, did you? All right, let me refresh. Graham, welcome. You're in the room. Please jump.
Hi guys, I'm Graham Butchell. I'm the president of the Downtown Boathouse. We're your free kayaking program in Tribeca.
Yay!
Oh. Wow, like to hear what I got to say.
We're charging now.
No. It's always half price for community board members. Everyone. All right. We did do about 25,000 people on the water this year. Not a lot from community board one, but the tourists are back. Oh, we got one there. And we have a whole outreach program now for groups with special needs. If you know any group, children's group, seniors group, it has to be free. We'll put them on the water. Right, we've even got an ADA thing going now. So, another thing for next year, Tammy was there. I know it's not a community board one, but there is now a launch site in Hudson River Park where it's, not a dock, it's in Gansevoort Peninsula opposite the Whitney Museum. If you know of some elected officials or other public who want to go voting at it next year and want pictures taken, because maybe we want to give the Brooklyn Bridge Beach open to the public.
Yes.
We can put lots of people there and get lots of pretty pictures next summer.
Absolutely.
Let us know. We'll do it. We'll even fake it. One other thing, on October
Thank you.
18th, the New York State DEC reclassified the water of New York Harbor, in particular the East River and the Hudson River adjacent to Lower Manhattan. So now you can go swimming. Now, they did not clean the water. Right? It's the same water. But up until October 18th, it was classified as not suitable for swimming. Now it has the same classification as Coney Island Beach.
That's great.
Class I. What it means is it's clean when it's clean and it's not when it's not. Right? But to be sure, 95% of the time, it's clean. Right? So the next step right now, if you actually want to go swimming on this harbor, which you have paid billions of dollars to clean up, you have to pay someone to go on an organized swim event. We're gonna are now asking / demanding the DEC set up procedures so there can be free swimming. If we get it sorted out by next summer, the community board members will be obliged to come to Pier 26 and go for a swim.
I can't.
So,
There you go.
I'm there. I'm there.
You can jump in off the dock there?
yes,
Yeah.
we'll work on it over the winter. So that's the news. See you next week.
I'll do
But
it.
not out of free. Thank you.
I jumped it. 25.
I just want to elevate what Graham said. There's a lot of people on this board who have worked on clean water, who have worked on the oyster to help clean the water, who have worked on plus pools in the water, who have worked on the CSOs and keep eyes out. This is a great process of moving forward. Doesn't happen quickly, but it's really good progress and gives you the vision that perhaps out at Governor's Island someday and the east side will actually be able to go in the water without thinking, and the west side, Pier 25, which is so much closer, but at places that are yet undeveloped for coastline. So it's very, very hopeful. Okay. So taking a look. I see Ruth, it is up to you. You have 2 minutes to speak now. If you'd like to say anything, about your application, that is up to you. If not, we will have you here only for backup if requested. So if you want to say anything freely about 105 Chambers, now is your opportunity. The reason why is because she chatted back to the host that I'm not necessarily wanting to speak, so we're trying to gauge her desire, to make sure we accommodate. Seeing no one else, we will close the public session out. And no one else has signed up to speak. We go with our public hearing, which is about the budget, municipal capital and expense budget priorities. We're going to open that at 6:30. Now, for the public hearing, we have some people who signed up, but I believe that they meant to sign up for other things, which includes some of our elected officials, representatives. So I'm not going to call on them yet, because I'm sure that's not what they signed up to speak on necessarily. And seeing no one who signed up specifically to talk about the budget, and I'm waiting 20 seconds or so, we will close that at 6:31. There we go, and move on to the business session. We like when it moves quickly. Okay, this is going to be adoption of the September 2023 minutes. Remember, this is roll call for all the board members. And thank you. Second, this is how we know that you're here. Take it away.
Amoruso. Blank. Brown Kennedy. Cameron. Vicky, I know you're online. Vicky. Cassell.
Cassell, yes.
Thank you. Chang. Chapman.
Chapman, yes.
Thank you. Charcudian.
Charcudian, yes.
Cole.
Cole, yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Corman.
Yes.
Shut. You online?
She is,
Line and Kuchia, yes, if I'm allowed to say yes.
keep in mind, if you are online, your video must be
Camera's
on.
on. I know. It's on. Sorry I was slow.
You're one of two.
Curtis.
Anybody else who's online
Sorry.
who intends on voting this evening has to have a camera on at all times. Thank
At
you.
all times. I'm here.
Curtis.
Hi, this is Rosa. Sorry, I'm here. I'm in the subway though.
Okay, what's your vote?
Rosa, is that a
Yes,
yes?
yes. Yes. Rosa
Curtis.
Chang, yes.
Herman. Flores. Flynn.
Flynn, yes.
Forsberg. Friedman.
Yes.
Roman.
Roman, yes.
Galloway.
Galloway, yes.
Goldstein.
He's there. We
He's
just,
online.
yeah,
Ball.
we have to move him over. He's stuck.
Grayson.
Grayson, yes.
That's already you. James.
James, yes.
Joyce. Ju.
Yes.
Day. 1 second. Canal. Capel. Lerner. Lewinson. Lynn.
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Mahoney, yes. Meltzer.
Yes.
Minsley.
Mentally, yeah.
Moore.
Yes.
Pandaya. Sorry.
Pandya, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
I abstain.
Oh, okay. Portia Corey.
Corey, yes.
Christina Robinson.
Christina Robinson, yes.
Rossi.
Rossi, yes.
Shear.
Yep.
Star. Jimmy Sung. Vera Sung. Thompson.
Thompson, yes.
Townley.
Yes.
You.
Yes.
Zelter.
Belter, yes.
Just going back.
Mm-hmm.
Amoruso. Blank. Brown Kennedy. Vicky Cameron. Curtis. Herman. Forsberg. Goldstein.
Yes.
There we go. Joyce. Cannell. Capel. Lerner. Star. Jimmy Sung. 34 in favor, 1 abstention, 0 opposed. Motion
Perfect.
pass.
All right, let's go with our elected officials. So we start always with our congressman's office. Tevin, welcome. I know you're in the room. There we go.
To the front, so no one has to turn. I'll be very brief. Thank you, everyone. Tevin Williams, Director of Community and External Affairs for Congressman Goldman. I first off just want to say thank you to everyone that reached out about the congressman's safety. As many of you know, him and his wife and 3 kids were in Israel, right as the attack started on Saturday, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was back safe and sound. He's in DC right now. And I just want to say thank you for everyone that reached out to him. I want to read just a very quick statement from the congressman. Just in the first couple of paragraphs, it'll be very brief. In the wake of Hamas's brutal terrorist attack and that has taken the lives of at least 1,300 people in Israel, including at least 27 American citizens, it is incumbent upon Congress and the Biden administration to provide whatever military, security, and diplomatic support Israel needs to protect herself and eradicate Hamas, a terrorist organization whose governing charter explicitly calls for the genocidal elimination of Jewish people in the state of Israel. As Israel carries out its obligation to defend itself with a just and legitimate military response against Hamas, it is of the utmost importance that we as a global community recognize that our fight is with Hamas, not with the nonviolent Palestinians in Gaza, who are also suffering under the brutal yoke of Hamas's evil oppression. That fight must be pursued within the humanitarian confines of the laws of war. There's a fuller statement on the back table if you'd like to read that. So I want to start off by saying that. The second thing I'd want to say is thank you to everyone who came to the 9/11 youth cohort just a few weeks ago that joined that. The congressman released a statement just right after that. It's part of the 2023 federal spending bill. And it's studying people that are age 21 or younger that were at ground zero. And then finally, I have just a quick little flyer up here about the Congressional Career Fair this Saturday in Brooklyn from 10 to 2. If anyone's interested in working for the federal government, we'll be co-sponsoring this with Leader Jeffries, Yvette Clark, and also Nydia Velasquez. That's it.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Tevin or for Congressman Goldman? No, but what I will say is I did, for everybody to know, we made a request today to our state and congressional offices to help us have FEMA come and do a presentation to explain to the public so the public can learn when it comes to FEMA certification, what exemptions are possible in an urban environment versus ripping out every tree, bush, plant, and flower that we have. So there is a lot, we emailed and asked for Congressman Goldman's support and help with getting the federal agency to come and speak with us. So thank you. Thank you very much. And for the record, announce that you're here and do you approve the minutes?
Yes, and yes.
Blank, yes.
Blank here, yes.
Perfect.
Sorry.
All right, because we are honored to have our public advocate with us, Damani Williams, thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you for having me.
Peace and blessings, love and light, everybody. Hope everybody's good. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. And I know, our contractor was in Israel, and I'm just so thankful that he was able to get out, and knows family is thankful as well. I am gonna start off there. I know there's just a lot of tension in the world, and there's a lot of tension in New York City. I have been, doing my best to, just uplift humanity at this moment in time. I can't imagine what it's like, to have been in Israel on October 7th. Can't like what it's like for folks to have hostages being held. I can understand what it's like to be in Gaza right now without food, without electricity, with bombs being sent to you. Even as you try to evacuate the place, they said you're evacuating. So what I've been trying to ask our leaders in the city to do is to uplift the humanity of everyone that's going through what they're going through right now. I personally, I think it is time for a ceasefire, and we passed that in my opinion, particularly before ground invasion. There are so many people who are dying in an innocent way, and I agree. We have to, for me, all the folks who condemned Hamas rightly and the attacks that happened in Israel should also be asking for a ceasefire. We have to have some kind of shared humanity. I'm not the UN. I can't solve the problems. I wish I could. But I think my duty is to here in New York City, and having gone to synagogues and mosques, there's so much pain that's going on, and people are just asking folks to be able to lift up their pain and lift up their turmoil, and hopefully we can do that, because there's just a lot of pain going around, and that probably doesn't satisfy everyone, but this has been going on for many, many decades, and I don't have the answers for them. I'm just a flawed human being, do my best I can to recognize that there's so many people in pain. On the notes of what's happening in the city, we're proud of the Office of the Public Advocate passed a law in the city council. The mayor just signed to by law have the city have dyslexia screening in Rikers Island. It's very important. They're going to start off with the younger ages and get everyone. There's definitely a connection in the amount of folks who end up incarcerated, end up in the criminal legal system and have dyslexia. So we want to just flag folks and hopefully connect them with the services that are needed, and hopefully to help folks. I mean, people sometimes say help folks get a second chance. In my opinion, sometimes it's a first chance. We also make sure I remember everything. Oh, our worst landlord list that folks know our office for is coming out in probably by the beginning of December. Yes, so hopefully you can watch out for that. If you have violations, you always remember to call 301. If those don't know, on News 12, every third Monday, they have an Ask the Advocate session for half an hour where I'm on. They're taking calls from people on the phone and also on social media. You can stay in touch with our office. This is Lupe here, sometimes here in Curtis, my Manhattan Borough Advocate. You can email gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov. You can call 212-669-7350. Or, and this is my favorite now, we just started a text bot a couple of months ago. You can text hello to 833-933-1NYC. It's 833-933-1692. And we're also on social media. And I'll pause there and happy to answer questions.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions for Wendy?
I don't have a question. I just want to applaud anything and everything that's being done on the dyslexic front, from the youngest to the oldest. That's a beautiful thing. As we know, dyslexia is very common, and when it's addressed early, or when people get Gordon Gillingham training, they actually, unlock the code to reading, and their lives improve tremendously. And so thank you for doing that. I don't know how we can help you, but I know there's not enough Gordon Gillingham trained, instructors and testers and things like that. That is what I think your bottleneck probably is, especially, well-qualified ones. And I actually happen to know some folks in that area, and they say the same thing. There's not enough people that are trained properly in Gordon Gillingham. So If there's anything we can do to advocate, if there's any resolutions we can write, but that is, I just applaud you for
Well,
focusing.
thank you, and hopefully we can connect, and you may have access to some folks that we don't, so, we'd love to make that connection.
Bob Townley?
Shimani, I just want to say this, your long history of advocacy, not being shy and you're the perfect leader of New York City to be speaking out on the first issue that you spoke out today about. Balanced, fair, always you, and I hope you continue to try to heal. And that is a good message that you did, and you're in leadership. And, you know, I've been proud of the New York leadership.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that we can keep that balance. I think things might get a little tenser before they loosen up. And so hopefully, we can just help everybody, because when things get tense, hopefully our leadership can step up to the moment to help guide through. But thank you for that.
Any other questions? The one thing I will ask is if you can send us digitally all the social media, tag us on Facebook if you use it, Twitter, we are, and send us all the links. We do a newsletter every weekend, and we're happy to put the digital stuff in there too.
Oh, awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank
All
you
right.
for that time.
Thank you very much for
Thank you so much,
coming.
everybody. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, one more
Sorry, I
question.
just wanted to say I did put the link in on your safe walks. So that is in the
In the
chat.
chat box?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just need it for our newsletter at the end of the week.
And there are flyers on the table in the back with the text to advocate, and also when you sign up for the QR code, you can access that.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Next, we want to welcome Senator Kavanaugh. Thank you so much for joining us in person. Emily, you cannot hide in the corner. Please come forward. So give the floor to Senator Brian Kavanaugh. And Emily, you have to be somewhere around here.
Okay, Senator Brian Kavanaugh, it's great to see you all. So the legislative process works such that for the first 6 months of the year, we pass a lot of the bills, and for the remainder of the year, we go through the process of which ones the governors are going to sign, the governor is going to sign. We still have a few substantial bills pending, to go to the governor's desk, but we did have two significant housing bills signed in the past week. You know, this is a year where I think we did what we did in housing, which I chair the housing committee, and housing was sort of like what you might hope to do in an ordinary year, but it was not up to the crisis that we are facing in homelessness and housing affordability and evictions. But we did pass two bills that were signed. One is a really big revamping of what's called the J51 program. This is a program that's been in place for a long time that is intended to fund renovations of existing multifamily housing. There was some criticism. It spends quite a bit of money each year, but there was some criticism that it just sort of was funding things that might have gotten done anyway and wasn't really tailored to the challenges we have now. So we really worked with the city, revamped the program, renewed it, and made it such that it'll be more usable for the resiliency and energy efficiency improvements that are needed, as well as the routine need to keep apartments up and in good shape. And again, mostly it's for building-wide renovations. The other thing is we call it the Housing Affordability, Resiliency and Energy Efficiency Investment Act, which is a mouthful, HREA. But it is basically, we went through a whole series of state statutes that govern city programs and modernized them across the board. There were instances where there were inconsistencies between city programs and state programs that prevented the city programs from being effective. There were instances where definitions were too narrow, so they couldn't get money out the door. So again, across a whole range of programs, we modernized them and hope that that'll allow the city to invest in stabilizing housing stock across the city. And again, that was also signed into law just last week. On more local front, first of all, we had our community convention. I'd like to credit my predecessor, Daniel Squadron, with inventing this model. But I want to thank a lot of people in this room were there. We had a little over 200 community participants and 30 organizations tabling and providing information. And so there was a plenary session where a lot of our local elected officials and myself got to speak for a bit. And then we broke out into a series of topical rooms where people could talk amongst themselves about issues that are of interest to the community. And we had, folks moderating and taking notes, and we will try to, sort of report back to you about how that will affect our work going forward. But I appreciate everybody who participated in that. We had a press conference the other day. It was not in the catchment area of CB1, but it was about the unlicensed sale of cannabis. And I worked closely with Grace Lee on this, so we decided to start with a fairly large list of businesses that appear to be selling cannabis illegally. We basically announced we will be sending formal letters to the property owners and the businesses, basically making it clear to them that they're violating the law. This past session, the cannabis we legalized a couple sessions ago, but frankly, it's been surprising and out of line with what happened in other places that legalized it, that you just had this proliferation of, everybody deciding hanging a leaf in the window and announcing that they're cannabis shopping is totally illegal. We passed laws that make it clearer that property owners can be responsible. We're borrowing from some old laws, like something called the Bawdy House Law, which basically requires landlords to step in and evict, and gives the government the ability to step in on their behalf and evict if they decline to do so. Some significant tax penalties if you're selling without taxing, which we assume most of the illegal places are, since they're not admitting they're selling the stuff at all. And we hope that the combination of that and greater activity, we're also working closely with the Office of Cannabis Management and the Department of Taxation and Finance and the Manhattan DA and our local precincts. We will be rolling this out, this approach out throughout the 27th Census District, which I represent, including all of CB1, basically, again, to make sure property owners are on full notice that they have some real liability here if they don't, get things under control on their own property. We also, I'm gonna jump ahead. So, I have a long meeting. I'm happy to take questions, but I do want to make one announcement, which Emily does not want me to make, which is that Emily and I have been serving us, incredibly well for a number of years and has been our Director of Community Affairs, is leaving the country about a month from today or so, thereabouts, 4 weeks from today, for personal reasons, and is going to cease to be our Community Affairs Director. She will be coming back at some point and perhaps playing some role in our office, but we will be recruiting somebody new for that role. So I just wanted to officially acknowledge that publicly. I told Emily I would not take a show of hands of how many people think that's a good idea. But
So, well, obviously we'll do questions in the room, but I want to personally thank you. The role as chair has been crazy since the pandemic, and coming out of the pandemic. And Emily is one of the people who I knew if I texted her, if I called her, and if I emailed her, I always got a response. So there is not enough of that. Well, there was the response as a community board leader you want to hear does not make the difference. The fact that there was somebody on the other end who was willing to really have a dialogue and supporting our elected officials was amazing. So I can't write you a recommendation, but when you need one, we're here. So now let's go around and see if anybody has any questions for either one of them.
I just have to say a huge applaud. I mean, I cannot tell you what an incredible asset that Emily has been to this board and to this community. I know this is terrible. You don't want to hear this, but I do have to say this out loud. I have also worked with you personally on a lot of issues, the jail, 250 Water Street, and of course our senator. I can't thank you enough. I mean, just as the confidence to whatever you do in the next iteration. I hope you do come back to us, and thank you.
I wish I could wax poetic. Overseas is international travel is always fun. Realizing this is an incredibly complex topic, offshore wind. What's happening in short sentences? What has it salvageable? I know the governor's hedging right now.
No, well, look, we're moving pretty aggressively. Just for little context for folks, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act set very ambitious goals to make our entire economy carbon neutral. We get to 85% and have to figure out how to do offsets for the last 15% by 2050. But the electricity generation sector is supposed to be entirely carbon neutral by 2040. And there are statutory targets for different sources of green energy. The current statutory target for offshore wind is 9 gigawatts, 9,000 megawatts by 2035. And we are well ahead of schedule to do that. The federal government has been making more ocean space off the coast of New York and New Jersey and other eastern states available, and we've got aggressive leases going. I have had legislation this past year that got a lot of support to up those targets. 2035 is pretty far off, and so, you know, the Climate Leadership Renewable Protection Act required a scoping study that laid out different plausible scenarios. And but basically, we're trying to make statutory the maximum feasible standard for offshore wind, and also extend those targets out to 2050, basically with a schedule that would get us to 20 gigawatts by the end of that. So, you know, it is challenging work, but you know, I think we're in pretty good shape. And you know, to the extent the governor's talking about challenges, there are challenges, but I think I'm pretty confident we're on board. I'm also meeting with the heads of the respective agencies that have to do the power, you know, the Power Authority and NYSERDA soon to talk about the coming year and, you know.
Okay, thanks.
Wendy?
Yeah, I just, there's a legislation which I know you all passed for notification of lead in pipe, lead pipes throughout the state. The governor hasn't signed it yet. Do you feel confident that she will sign that?
Yeah, I'm always careful not to speak for, you know, their elected officials. The governor have to review each of these things. Typically what happens if they have any technical or maybe more than technical concerns, they'll discuss those with the legislature and perhaps put together an amendment that addresses those rather than vetoing it if they have concerns. I haven't heard anything specific about that. I will say that in response to, we had as chair of the Housing Committee and my colleague, Gustavo Rivera, chair of the Health Committee, we did a hearing on lead poisoning in the state. Much of lead poisoning happens in people's homes. In New York City, the rate of basically young kids have their lead tested as a matter of course at hospital. And in New York City, the positive rate is about 2%. That is, you know, if you think about 1 in 50 kids testing positive, that's problematic. The statewide rate is more than 4%, which means outside the city in rental housing, the positive rate is 6% of all kids, which I think is an astonishing number. As a result of some of that advocacy, the governor announced a program that will target the zip codes that are the heaviest, you know, the highest levels of exposure, and require cyclical inspections. Basically, all rental units in those areas will have to be inspected every 3 years. And to the extent they find lead, there is a separate program that we funded in the capital budget to address the lead, to remove the lead. In the past, sometimes they would just remove the child from the unit and not worry too much about the next family that we're saying. So we really are trying to eradicate lead. Lead in pipes is still a significant problem. It's a very significant problem in some parts of the state. But you know, just to say the governor has been committed, designed that program with us and launched it. So I think she's committed to the notion of addressing this. I can't say.
I certainly understand. I just thank you for all that work.
No, I appreciate it. And there are lots, I mean, we pass about 1,000 bills a year. I think most of them have been signed at this point, but there's still hundreds of very worthwhile pieces of legislation, most of which will get signed in the past years, as any, you know.
Awesome. Before I go to you, I'm going to go online and then to you. Justine Kucha, you're online. Your hand was raised.
It's raised. Thank you so much. Senator Kavanaugh, first with you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Asking you to remember, and if you have an update on what's going on with the 2 of the Battery Park City bills. One, which I guess you both have to be reintroduced in the next session, but one obviously with appointing more people to the board that are local residents. There's a notation which people may or may not be aware of, but the Battery Park City Authority is picking a new chair for the board tomorrow, Wednesday. So that'll be an interesting thing to listen to and find out about. And then, of course, the affordability bill for Battery Park City, in terms of the condo owners and anybody making below a certain amount, whether they're condo owners or renters.
Yeah, just the first bill is, just for those who may not know, a bill that we passed in both houses of legislature, was vetoed last year by the governor. It basically, a number of years ago, 2017 and 2018, I was the senator by the time we negotiated one of those amendments to get the governor to sign this bill. But we required that 2 of the 7 members be residents of Battery Park City. We wrote a bill and Charles Bell's predecessor, Ely New, and I passed it that said basically it has to be a majority. We expanded the word to 9 and said 5 need to be residents, and also clarified a primary residence requirement there, and the governor vetoed it. Governors are very protective of their ability to appoint residents. The veto message had articulated some concerns about conflicts of interest. It is an ongoing discussion, and I would look to hear from, folks in the community. I know it's very significant for Justine and others, but I'd like to, hear from all of you before we're in the next session about, how big a part it is, especially after you have a BPC committee. The other bill is intended to address, we passed a bill and got it signed that makes SCREE and DREE, and also SHE and D, which are the disabled rent and tax incentive programs for people who are the head of household has a disability or 62 years of age or older. We made those available in Battery Park City, but have a separate bill that is intended to deal with the ground rent, and effectively it would freeze the increase in the ground rent for each building on a pro rata share to reflect the portion of that is paid by a resident of these buildings who meets an income test. And the income test is quite a bit higher than SCREE and DREE. The current version of the bill sets that at, I think it's 100. I think the current draft sets it at 160% of the area median income. So it is intended to
150, I think, Senator, but yeah, you're right. Thank you.
I think it's one, apparently I stand corrected about my own bill, as I wrote. In a while, right? But we're out of legislative mode here. But yeah, there was some negotiation about what that number should be. But again, this is in recognition of the fact that the underlying structure of Battery Park City has the ground rents being reset to market periodically. And there's been some very tense negotiations about how that should work in individual buildings and the extent to which it might displace people. So this is something we propose. The Battery Park City Authority Board, subsequent to our discussion of that, has also proposed to try to do some version of this administratively, which they may have the ability to do. If they do, we'll take a look at it and see if it works and be supportive of it if it does. But I think it would be something to be valued to put in statute to make clear, and also to make sure it's permanent, so that some future board or administration at Battery Park City doesn't decide that, if it can be implemented administratively, maybe it can be undone administratively. So it's an important priority for me. Again, I would love to, there was some concern expressed, I think, including at board meetings and the meetings of the committee, about whether this is a good idea or whether some global deal settlement of the ground rent issue should be done instead. I think this is a very important way of protecting lots of residents of Battery Park City, and I would urge moving forward on it. But again, I'm open to input if people have different ideas.
So much, Senator Kavanaugh. I'm hearing you say you basically want us to do more, different resolutions on this. So I will take that under advisement and do it and push it forward so you get the support of Community Board 1 and you know what our direction is. And then the other thing I want to just say is, Emily, oh my God, good luck. You're amazing. And I thank you for everything so far, and you will be missed.
Thanks, Justine. Love you. I said Richard would be next, but so we're gonna go in this order: Richard, Mitch, Joel, and one comment that I had, Senator, that I wanted to say to you is, I find it odd that Battery Park City Authority has different rules for the people who serve on the board than the only other state authority in New York City. Roosevelt Island has residents that are well ensconced in the boards over there, and they've been there for decades. So I'm not really sure why. We got served differently. Just gonna leave it at that. Richard?
Sorry, Senator, I have to pile on with Emily, much to her chagrin, but, you're standing there and you gotta take it, Emily, because you earned it. You know, you and I worked together really closely on 5 World Trade Center. Very difficult process over these last 2 years at least. And honestly, I think if it weren't for you and the way you handled it, no disrespect to the senator, of course, but the way you handled very difficult situations, the tension, the confusion, the uncertainty, it was extraordinary how you handled it, and I thank you for that. The grace under pressure was truly remarkable, and of course, you earned the trust of people who were fighting really hard for something that was very difficult, and that was not easy to get, and you earned it, and so we will miss you.
The back?
Hi, Senator Kavanaugh. I've mentioned this to you probably on a few times, and I just want to publicly remind you, for the few buildings in this neighborhood, and I guess it applies to the whole city, that were originally 80-20 buildings under the previous 421 program that will be expiring in the next year or two. If, I know those programs are expiring, but if there's some legislation or some ways you guys can come up with the ideas so that if you're a senior citizen and you've lived there for 30 years, that you can age in place. And there's some, if the building doesn't agree to go into like a lateral program with the same type of things, that you're grandfathered in, as opposed to at 70, 80 years old being thrown out. I know it's a tricky situation, but there's a few places that exist like that where it's coming up in about a year or two.
Yeah, and you and I have an opportunity to talk for what, so this is not, you know, people talk about the expiration of.
I just want to say it publicly because we've been very approachable privately.
We're working on it to some extent. Our main policy tool is to try to push landlords to accept kind of voluntary arrangement, which they often do.
Or induce some other tax breaks or something.
It appears legally we can't just mandate it. So, and you know, one of the things we've learned, like I've learned over years, is all these programs that were done temporarily, affordability provision should be permanent. So many of the things we're proposing now, you know, 30 years seem like a long time when these things were put in place, but they expire and it's a time bomb. We also have been talking about some other policy approaches that may be useful in some of these situations, and I'd have to, they're technical and we're not quite ready to
Just wanted to bring it up.
announce them, but I appreciate it. And we also honestly just want to try to work on your particular situation as well.
Cool.
Hey, I'm wondering where I can find energy emission data for New York State. Because the last emission data that was published for New York State is in 2021. You know, a lot has changed. I mean, in 2021, 85% of the electricity in New York State was from fossil fuels. And in 2030, the plan is for that 70% of that to be renewable. So now that's 2023, I'm assuming a good bit of that has changed. So where can I find what percentage of the energy is produced by different sources for this year? That would be very helpful in my calculations for emission saving.
Yeah, I mean, the progress, there's been a lot of progress in developing stuff. I think you are not going to find huge swings toward actual, you know, sort of, there's only one that the offshore project has been actually deployed as regular electricity so far, and it's a small one. But there has been real progress in kind of launching these projects. They're being constructed, you know, they're leased and being constructed, and they'll be providing electricity definitely. NYSERDA is probably, you know, a lot of the data that was done for the scoping plan for the CLCPA. I get estimates from these agencies, but I don't know to what extent they're just, you know, they're just projecting.
Yeah.
Where they're based on real data. We can, maybe connect me with my legislative team and see what they can.
Sure. But it looks like if there's only been one offshore wind installment since 2021, it would be pretty similar to the 2021.
Well, I mean, again, there's solar being deployed, there's wind, we've been trying to take some of the, you know, the peaker plants offline. There's a lot going on, but I think that I don't think you're likely to see major changes in the last, you know, if you have 2021 data, you're talking about 20 months ago, I don't think you're gonna see big differences in current emissions from existing sources.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody else in the room have any other questions? For either Emily or Senator Kavanaugh? Saying none, we take a look online. I see no hands up. Emily?
Can you hear me, Tammy?
Yes, Marianne.
I know you made me a panelist. I'd had my hand up. A quick question, comment maybe to Senator Kavanaugh, that you mentioned that everyone about individuals on the board being residents of Battery Park City. I want to be sure that when resident is defined, it includes people who are filing their taxes here so that they're not living more elsewhere and maybe having a pied-à-terre in the neighborhood. Maybe you've covered that already, but just want to put that out there.
I did mention the bill that we have proposed, that got vetoed, that we have reintroduced, indicates that it has a definition of primary residence as the thing that means you meet the standard of it being majority of board members. And something we added partly with some comments and concerns that we got from the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator, for your work. I'm sorry you will have a lot more work coming soon. And Emily, we don't probably have time to throw you a party, but this is the best I could do under short term. So you know how loved and appreciated you are by the constituency. So, yeah. Thank you. It's horrible for her, but we love her anyway. She's whispering, that's horrible. This is horrible. All right, let's move along. Thank you very much for both of you. We take a look at who's here from our elected officials. I think we have Jasper Scott online from our Assembly Member's Office. Jasper, are you on?
I'm on. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. She has heard it from our office, but we will also miss Emily very dearly. I know she wants to continue to be the center of attention at this meeting. Yeah, so just quick updates for what we've been up to. As per usual, Senator Kavanaugh stole a little bit of our fire, which is just a testament to how closely the Assembly member works with him. But so for the past week, we've been pretty focused on this new initiative that we have introduced, where we are sort of shifting focus in our efforts to address like the very longstanding issue, the unacceptable state of the illegal weed vendors in the district and in Lower Manhattan. So yeah, we are shifting gears and approaching the landlords and enforcing the legal liabilities that they face, including increased financial penalties as part of legislation passed this past session. So we worked with local law enforcement, gathered an initial list of 30 to 40 stores in our district, which we will be physically mailing letters to, and then working with the Manhattan DA's office to follow up on the details of those letters and actually enforce the legal and financial penalties. What I will add to that is, this is not, we have not exhausted what we intend to do with this. So if anyone has local stores that they know of that they credibly suspect to be illegally selling cannabis, we encourage you to come to our office, notify our office, because we are actively compiling that list and are happy to add additional stores to that list, or we can continue our outreach efforts. So, I'll drop the contact info and everything, but please, if you have information about stores local to you, bring it to us, because we at this point can use it. Another update, what we actually did today, we gathered with survivors at Columbia University's gates to demand that the university take accountability for its role in the crimes of Robert Haddon, who is the ex-OBGYN doctor employed by Columbia for 25 years, who is to date accused of assaulting over 500 women during his employment with the university and who is now in federal prison. We led a bipartisan letter in the assembly signed by over 30 assembly members calling for Columbia to notify Haddon's past patients about his crimes and the loss of his license before they lose the opportunity to seek justice when the Adult Survivors Act expires on November 23rd, so next month. So time is of the essence, and to date, none of Robert Haddon's past patients have been notified about the loss of his license, and it is Columbia who is the party who can do that notification process. So we're pushing them to do that, and additionally, we are pushing them to conduct an independent investigation into the failures within the institution that allowed Haddon to commit these crimes and abuses for decades. And so as part of this press conference we had this morning, we hand-delivered the letter to the office of their new president. In addition to that, more minor stuff, we are continuing to accept submissions for the Historic Business Registry. New York has a registry to honor historic businesses in historic neighborhoods, including Lower Manhattan, and to add them to a registry where they get a bit of promotional assistance as well as an opportunity to be honored for like the contributions that they've made to their local community. So any local businesses that have been in business for over 50 years and have made a real significant contribution to the local community in CB1, we encourage you to bring those forward to us, and we can hopefully work on getting them honored at the state level for their contributions. I think that about wraps it up for me. Thank you guys for listening. I'll take any questions.
Do we have any questions for our Assembly Member's office? Jasper, seeing none in the room, thank you so very much for coming today. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
And then I think, do I see? I want to make sure I don't have anybody in the room that I've missed from Assembly Member Paul's office. Nope, nobody from Assembly Member Paul's, and from our other assemblyman, we have 3 now, assembly person. Perfect. So we're going to go to Andrew, who's here from our Borough President's office, and then Max, or is it Keisha here from the Borough President's? I saw one.
Okay.
Hey, Andrew. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Andrew. Good evening, everybody. Few things I want to mention. First off, we're having our second round of community board member training sessions next month, November 13th to 17th. For those of y'all who missed the sessions that were held last month, these sessions will focus on conflicts of interest, equal employment opportunity, and as well as other training sessions. I'll send out more information as I get them. We're partnering with the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Congressman Jerry Nadler's office, Councilmember Keith Powers' office for a Vets at the Met event.
Yeah.
So veterans in New York City are welcome to attend the Metropolitan Museum of Art on Wednesday, November 1st. There'll be free entry for these veterans between the hours. They should enter between 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on November 1st, but they can stay as long as they like. Please enter through the 81st Street entrance, and you need your RTP. I can send the RTP link. Well, I emailed Lucy and Zach earlier today with the flyer and more information.
Okay, we'll get that.
And we're having the Manhattan Borough President's Office is having a Manhattan Day of Action on Saturday, November 4th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. We're doing several community cleanups throughout the borough of Manhattan. If you'd like to register to volunteer, please let me know. And lastly, earlier this month, the Manhattan Borough Board passed a borough-wide resolution regarding right to counsel. And Senate Bill S-2721 and Assembly Bill A-1493 would guarantee the right of counsel for all tenants facing eviction. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Robin Forrest from the mayor's office, and then we'll do, sorry about that, Matt. Okay, Robin, you're on. Thank you.
Hi, Tammy. Hi, everyone. Nice to be at this meeting. I have a few updates to share with you from the mayor's office. One, in the realm of jobs. New York City has hit an all-time high in jobs. And nearly the million jobs that were lost during the pandemic have been recovered. Despite the dire warnings about New York being finished. We're not finished yet. And the growth has taken place across all the 5 boroughs and both in the private and public sector. Speaking of a New York City milestone, the city has just concluded training 5,000 new registered nurses through a citywide nursing residency program. We know how important nurses are, and we saw it incredibly clearly during the pandemic. And New York City is the first city in the nation to offer a program like this. It was implemented in 28 healthcare facilities across the city, and the rate of retention is 96%, which is significantly above the national average. In the ongoing war on rats, the mayor hates rats, which he'll happily tell you. Along with Sanitation Commissioner Tisch, a new program to containerize trash at smaller residential buildings was announced. So starting next fall, a year from now, all residential buildings with 9 or fewer apartments will be required to containerize trash. Obviously, there will be more information forthcoming. There are special bins that will be necessary for this, and part of the process of implementation will include the announcement of an authorized seller who will provide the bins at a considerably lower than retail price. I don't know if you heard, but the mayor, along with New York City Health and Hospitals, launched a program called Virtual Express Care, the first in the nation to offer telehealth abortion services. Through the program, patients seeking abortion care will be able to speak to New York State licensed healthcare professionals by video or phone, and they will receive counseling. And if appropriate, they can receive prescriptions, which will be mailed to them. I think it's, personally, I think it's terrific. My final thing that I wanted to mention is that the mayor, Governor Hochul, and Chan Zuckerberg, and don't ask me if he's related because I don't know, have announced a new biomedical research hub in the city. Nearly $300 million was provided by a private-public collaboration, and it will be a collaboration between Columbia University, Rockefeller University, and Yale. And the focus will be on early disease prevention and treatment, ovarian, pancreatic cancers, and neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So that's it. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has one.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor's office? Yes, Eric, you.
Yeah, hi. I have a question about the police and crime reporting. I don't recall the stat, but it was in the news maybe a week or two ago saying that crime rates have either lowered or stabilized. My concern is with the police, when you want to report a crime, they either don't take the report or they downgrade it for concern of increasing their comp status. Is the mayor aware of this, or is this a concern for him?
Well, I'm not aware of it, and so I can't answer your second question, but it's something I can follow up with you on. Where's your information from, if I may ask?
Yeah, at Southbridge, we had an incident where someone created a risk to the public, and our director of security attempted to file a report. And initially, the police that responded, they didn't want to do it. Only after he went higher to the precinct did they actually accept the report. So I think this is a concern where I suspect it's a concern in general, to not raise alarm with crime statistics. And I just don't want it to be just for show, the statistics. So yeah, I'd like to follow up with you on these things. I have
Okay.
it in mind, yeah.
Do you have access to the chat?
I'll get,
And
I'll
if,
get-
if
we'll-
not, Zach or Tammy can give you my email address. And why don't you follow up with me and we can talk it through a little bit more. I'm not aware of the situation and I'd be interested to hear more of the details. So thank you for your comment and question, and I'll look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you.
two other hands up in the room, Cody and then Colin. I'm getting there.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question about the mayor's lifting of the cap on the number of cars, ride share hailing services like Uber and Lyft.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You're going to have a question about the caps, what?
Just stand up, Cody, it's okay.
The caps on ride shares, on Uber and Lyft, provided they're electric.
Uh-huh.
And the question is, because I mean, you're looking at thousands of new cars, new Ubers and Lyfts contributing to congestion, which seems to fly in the face of the spirit of congestion pricing itself. Some advocates are saying that it also will increase competition among TLC licensed drivers, so that exist so far. So it's just dumping more cars on the streets. Has the mayor taken into account the concern of those of us who are opposed to more congestion, and also the taxi and TLC drivers that are currently have licenses? It'll make their ability to make a living much harder.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to say to you the same thing I said to Eric. Let's talk more about this offline. I would like to do a little research about it and give you the information you're looking for. I don't know.
Thank you.
Actually, Cody, I think that's a great topic to bring up to Transportation Committee, because this board in very specific has spoken a lot about if they could control the placards and we could control for-hire vehicles, that our streets would be significantly better. So
Yes.
I'm delighted to have them take that topic on.
On our radar.
Colin?
Just super fast, I don't expect you to answer this, but I would love to see if the mayor's office can report back to the environmental committee on the progress of DC fast charger installations. Earlier this year, the mayor promised 6,000, and I haven't seen a whole lot since then. Again, I don't expect you to answer right now, but I would love the mayor's office to come to, someone from the mayor's office to come to environmental and give us a report on where that's at.
Okay, I will take that back with me.
Thanks.
Awesome. Anybody else in the room for Robin? All right, thank you, Robin, very much.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna-
Good night. I mean, thank you.
We have Max is in the room, and then I just want, before you start, Max, I need to check if Erica Sullivan's with us. Because I thought I saw her online, but I didn't, I think she disappeared. And if not, after that, Evelyn Collado. And if you're online and you hear us, stick a hand up. Okay. Erica will be last. Okay, Max, welcome. Thank you, thank you.
Yes. Now you all want to hear another elected official update. Sorry, but yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Max, I'm the legislative director I'm the legislative director for Councilmember Marte. So yeah, first legislation, last week we introduced two pieces of legislation. One that would, with Councilmember Carolina Rivera, one would require property owners to create and distribute flood evacuation plans to tenants, specifically focusing on tenants on the first floor and basements. So I don't know, I was stranded in my house 3 weeks ago with the flooding. It's going to become a more common occurrence. Tenants should have a way to, like, similarly, every apartment has a fire escape plan on your door. So the same thing, but for flooding. And the second bill we introduced with Councilmember Robert Holden would require small business services to to study the negative repercussions of film shoots on small businesses. For those who don't know, our office, we get a lot of calls. When there's a film shoot, they take over a whole block, the production staff, they block small business entrances, and the owners lose thousands of dollars in revenue sometimes over a week that these film shoots are happening. So they would also, besides for just a study, they would actually have to create a plan to alleviate the losses small businesses face. So again, we're not trying to punish the film industry. we're just trying to create a balance that, let them, let there be a film shoot, just don't punish small businesses because they just happen to be where you're shooting. And then on November 28th, and this date might change, but we're going to be having a hearing on a bill that the council member introduced last year that would require senior service providers to attend anti-discrimination trainings, specifically focusing on discrimination of LGBTQ seniors. What people might not know, there's a lot of studies that have come out that have shown that majorities of LGBTQ seniors don't feel comfortable going to senior service providers, to senior centers, because they fear discrimination or having to hide their identity. And the bill would also require the Department of the Aging, or for the Aging, to provide counseling for seniors who have faced discrimination. And yeah, so if people want to learn more about the bill, if you're interested in testifying at the hearing, you can let me know. I'm happy to help you with that and tell you more about that. Today, people have heard about Local Law 97. It's very controversial. This is the rule the City Council passed 4 years ago that sets carbon emission reductions for buildings throughout the city. The mayor has proposed changes that we believe would weaken this bill. And so the council member today testified in support of Local Law 97 and opposing the mayor's changes. And then last week we had our home attendant rally for, again, we've mentioned this a lot. The council member introduced a bill last year that would end the 24-hour workday for home attendants. The speaker has been refusing to give this bill a vote in front of the whole council. And so, yeah, we're just kind of constantly trying to push the speaker to give this bill a vote and these inhumane working conditions. And next month on November 16th at noon, we'll be having another rally. So please, everyone can come join us. It's really important that in January, because of the new city council election, every bill that has not been voted on by January is going to be reset and going to have to be introduced again and have a hearing again. So we really want to get this bill passed before January, so we don't have to do this whole thing again for the next 2 years. And then lastly, participatory budgeting. Submissions are open again. So for those who don't know, participatory budgeting, you can all submit ideas for what you want funded in the district. And then in the spring, everyone gets to vote on what idea is picked and what idea is funded. So, and I can share the link with you all so it can be set onto the newsletter. But yeah, you can submit your ideas for what you want funded, whether it's, you want a park to be upgraded, a school to get upgrades, an actual development to get some upgrades. And we'll also be doing tabling events. I know one at Manhattan Youth, and I think the next month, also at Southbridge. And yeah, we can post the dates and times and let you all know. So yeah, you can just come in, we'll do write an idea, put it in a ballot box. And then we just do all the, technological work that you don't want to do. And then, yeah, I'll just take any questions.
Any questions for him?
It's more of a comment than a question, just in relation to the film shoot one.
Yeah.
If the film industry's all but been shut down for the past half a year, just would urge mindfulness about that and curtailing.
Yeah, I think this bill, again, it'll probably, first it's just a study, and then, so it probably take hopefully in a year or two, it takes this to be implemented, the strike will, end and things will be back to normal. But yeah, I'm sure, yeah, something that, again, the bill's only just been introduced, so it's not be passed and everything, but yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Well,
I just wanted to ask, obviously, everybody should be in support of the better working conditions and care about the home attendants and everything, 24 hours, and it's not humane. But is there any tie-in to make it practical with the insurance payments that goes to that? Because otherwise, in a year or two, people's life savings will be wiped out, and, it's very tragic, as many people can understand. So is there anything in the bill that's attaching to that? Or if not, that's something I would recommend so that the home attendants can get what they deserve and the people needing the care will, not be left without care.
Yeah, so that's where the complication is. A lot of the insurance part is on the state level. So there's also a state bill that would do the same thing. But
There should be a tie-in if possible.
So on the city level, a tie-in's not possible, but again, the council passes bills that don't have the perfect funding mechanism literally all the time. Yeah, so again, the insurance companies, Medicare, all that can be done.
Is it something the city could, when the people like Senator Kavanaugh have some type of,
Yeah, and there is a bill on the state level, the SWEAT Act,
Okay.
which would, do the same, do the same thing we want to do on a state level, and that does have the tie-ins. And so I believe that's Ron Kim, Assembly Member Ron Kim.
one thing can't be done unless you're really rich, one thing can't be done without the other.
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Let me take a quick look online, seeing no hands online. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All righty. So the next two that we have are our last two from the elected officers group. But I will say that from Assemblymember Glick's office, Erica was online listening, so she's heard all the constituents. And we have her report that we will be sharing out both a link and print because she cannot join us today. She's in transit. Which leaves us with Evelyn Collado. Is Evelyn in the room with us today? Could swear I saw her online. Evelyn was here from Brad Lander's office, from Controller Lander, so we will, if she comes back, but if not, I think we move along with our evening. All right? So with that, we're gonna close the updates from our elected officials, move on our treasurer's report. Mariama?
Well, Lucy disseminated the technical reports to all the officers last Thursday at the exec meeting, and then to all of the general membership and the public. Thereafter via email. Did everybody see it? It's pretty straightforward. There are taxis for our staff to get home after our 11 o'clock departures from these meetings. There's a couple of meals, and the salaries, 2 salaries for the last quarter. Nothing exciting. Everybody okay with the treasurer's report? Is it up there?
It is.
It's not the packet, okay. So there it is. Any questions on this? Okay, thank you.
Alice has a question.
Oh, sorry.
It's terrific. I was just curious, that chunk of change under the street fair fundraising, what is that generally used for on the board? It seems to be at 115,000.
Like consultants and stuff.
It is the consultants. Okay, that's what I was saying.
The food that you've got over there.
Right.
You know? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anything else?
Seeing no other questions, let's move on from the treasurer's report.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do a chairperson's report before the district manager because I have more stuff to say. If you don't mind reading mine first. The first thing is welcome to Zach. Yay! The picture is important if you're online and not in the room, so you can see him. Please don't accost him on the streets. He's been with us all of a week, and we really want to give him a warm welcome. We're excited. He'll give his spiel afterwards. That is his direct phone number and his email. I'm sure we'll work on cell phones and other things, but first, let's just work on the office line. Please know that he has to catch up to everything that's been going on. If you have a question, maybe start with email, maybe. And if he doesn't return your call in a nanosecond, it's probably because there are 50 of us and 1 Zach. So welcome, Zach. And do you want to do your district manager report now?
Sure.
And then we'll go back to me. I just wanted to get this.
Sure. Thank you, Tammy. And thank you to all of you for giving me this opportunity. It's such a privilege to be able to serve all of you and to serve Community Board 1. I can be biased already, the best community board in the city. And Tammy said, this is actually day 7, so still very brand new. I want to thank Onej and Lucy, who have been so supportive and so helpful in bringing me up to speed and carrying me up to speed for on many things. So thank you both. You're just a wealth of information and do so much for the board. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be a part of the team of us here. And Tammy, of course, who has been educating me on all the issues and supporting my transition. So thank you, Tammy. A little bit about myself. I worked for the state for many years and then worked for nonprofit in Chinatown for a couple of years. And more recently, I worked for the city for the New York City Census 2020 campaign. And most recently, I worked for the Department of Small Business Services as a senior manager for intergovernmental affairs. So my experience with the state, with the city, with politics, with nonprofit has really sort of helped me already know a lot of the acronyms that the government likes to throw around. I've worked in Lower Manhattan for almost all of my career, so I know Lower Manhattan to a pretty good level, and we'll get much more detail now as I learn from doing this work. I'm really excited to join, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you and meeting all of you and working with all of you more closely. I've been focusing more on sort of the office, inner office workings right now, but we'll be trying to reach out to all of you to in the next few weeks to connect and understand your ideas and your places on the board. So I look forward to that. Want to throw a fun fact out there, throw back to a call back to the public session. I already did swim in the Hudson River, so I'm ahead of the game.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, and guys, be kind to Zach. All right, let's move on with the slides. Where have I been for the month? October's been a busy month. And waiting for my slide. Don't forget, when we're running them from down here, sometimes it comes up in delay. Okay. Next. Okay.
Did that screen work as well?
No, it did, and then we moved it, and it didn't. So we just need to set it and forget it, as I say. So you can see on the TV screen that's over there, that's where we've been it's been a busy month. Because beyond that, obviously some of you have seen me being tech at some of your meetings, which hopefully will change soon. Okay, there's so much more to come in the month, but the important things to note, I went to the opening of Gansevoort Peninsula. And I have two pictures from there. Graham, thank you so much. I got your feet in the water there, standing there at the boat launch. But what I really want to point out was the success of what you see in Gansevoort Peninsula is the possibilities that we have on the East River side of Manhattan. There's absolutely no reason that we couldn't have an amazing amenity like the West Side does on the East Side. All of the beautiful public open space should not be in Brooklyn on the Lower East Side across from us. We shouldn't just be a commercial zone. It just doesn't make any sense. And I have to say, Gansevoort Peninsula is spectacular. It has an open field. It has a beachy area. It has a boat launch area. It has private places that you can sit and barbecue. Great, places to feel like you don't even hear the West Side Highway in some of the benches, and it has a dog run as well. So it is truly, and the fire department, it is a real city amalgam of possibilities. So anybody who says, we're never gonna get that on the East Side, take a look, go visit this peninsula, and then help us fight for more public space. Coming up, now that we have a DM back, I'm gonna do chat with the chair. So it'll be once or twice a month, and I'll be at a coffee shop near you. But in order to be at a coffee shop near you, you need to tell me where those are, right? Where you think is a good spot to meet that you can have a cup of coffee, chat with whoever shows up. I have a portable laptop. I'll work from anywhere. It doesn't make a difference to me. All right. So send some ideas and I'll be happy to be anywhere in the district. Doesn't make a difference. In November, there will be a borough-based jail community advisory council meeting. And updates, we've asked that be allowed, that it would be publicly available to view, even if you're not on the CAC. So I'm announcing it here. I don't know exactly when, but they tell me November. We will also have City of Yes. There are several boards and chairs who are trying to get together to ask the city to delay and do more outreach, because it is, from what we learned from land use last month, it's massive. It's massive. There's just no way that you can actually ask 18 changes to the zoning to have a community board do that in 60 days. It's just unattainable. And then the cannabis applications will be heard next month at executive meeting, other than the one candidate who was, she's here, who was amazingly kind and brave and going through all the changes that we have. And I don't often call applicants that, but I have to appreciate her patience and appreciate her tenacity. She's been working with the community board since September. So, but the rest of the 30 applications will come in November at executive. Be prepared. We're gonna do as much pre-work as we can to make it go fast like licensing.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, next slide, please. Nope, Mariama. Yeah.
Is 30 a real number or just like, like a million applications?
Oh,
I think it's 28.
Oh, I think that she's 29. That is,
Community Board 8 had how many?
Community Board 2 has 71 applications. That's not us. But it does make me know that if you are interested in being part of the working group, working on the cannabis applications, please email me. We could use a couple more hands because it's just about going through, making phone calls, confirming they've gotten the questionnaire, they filled it out. We've gotten everything from, hey, I'm notifying the community with 0 contact information to, hey, me and Alice and Wendy are all related and applying for the same place. So it'll be a fun.
But are these 28 applications, have they already been approved by the city of New York? They just.
It's not the city.
It's the
State, whatever it
state.
is.
No, they have no provisional license, most of them.
So why are we even considering a
Because
provisional license?
we don't have you either hear them or you don't. Regardless of if they have a provisional license.
Not to belabor the point, but I wouldn't hear anyone unless the city of New York, state, that you say, clears them already first.
Well,
This fine,
So
gentlewoman is cleared already by the.
yes, she's cleared.
Cleared already.
However, the way they have it is unfortunately they did not follow the SLA model. They created half of a new model on their own. And we did reach out to Assemblymember Lee and ask her to do a dialogue amongst her constituents for 1, 2, and 3. Because yes, they were told without a provisional license, you still need to go to the community board, notify them, and the community board has 30 to 60 days, 60 if you've applied for a 30-day extension to hear them. So we will have, for example, right now, I think it's.
Yeah, and then it'll go back to the licensing board and then we're done?
Yeah. So you get one bite at the apple, but I mean, we have 5 applications, I think, for the same address. And it goes to a lottery.
Oh, wow. Whoever put that law into effect and that process into effect must have been high.
The way we're describing it is the way it was supposed to have been done. That's the way we were told it was going to roll out when the state first announced that the law had passed. They were going to first provisionally approve people and then send them to the community boards.
Trust me, we have checked.
We've checked.
And I got it in writing.
They constantly change. They're a mess, okay? They thought they were gonna get all this money and this is what's happened and we're all paying a price.
So we're seeing what we can do. We'll move on, stay tuned. But if you are willing to be part of the working group, please email us. We need some extra hands. Okay, next slide. Okay. Concerned about quality of life. There are lots of opportunities. I can't tell you how often enough. If you have something to say and you want to talk to NYPD, please go to the meetings. This is one of the Build the Bot meetings for Zone A. If you are not in Zone A, over by Southbridge Towers, to be there on Thursday, next, you can go to the general meeting, which is the First Precinct Community Council. Our rep there is Lucy, and you can go as individuals and speak up and say anything that you feel, need, say, questions. Great opportunity to directly be online with the NYPD. Next slide. We have our estuary design engagement meeting with the Hudson River Park Trust. We are co-sponsoring it. It is the 30th. It'll be held at Manhattan Youth. Thank you so much for your space, Mom.
Yeah, we'll get my fish.
And if you want to hear about our lovely fish, that's where you're going to go. Next slide. Told you it's busy. Good news. We got a letter, and this might be Zach's first letter as our district manager, because it was even dated before he started. We will have the opportunity to send them suggested locations for public restrooms in zip code 1006. So we have until November 6th to submit dates, which means any of the community board members who would like to suggest locations, send it to the community board by Halloween. You get a week. And then we can draft a letter and respond to DOT.
Where? Location. What's my zip code? We have all the bathrooms in World Trade.
Again, everybody is very, very capable of using a map, looking through where the zip codes are for 10006 and making suggestions. If you think we need none, feel free to email that as well. Next slide.
Tammy, on the location, it's DOT, are they talking about street space or are they talking about like on a building lot someplace?
My guess is they're talking about open space that is accessible to DOT. So, but we do know, for example, 1 Center Street was supposed to have a bathroom. We approved one 4 or 5 years ago now for the outdoor area outside 1 Center, and that hasn't been built.
So they're not talking about yet another imposition on street space?
Good question.
We don't
know.
know.
That will be a question that Zach would be happy to go back and ask.
It's first.
Well, they took away the phone book.
He's the man.
Rosa?
And that sidewalk, right.
Hold on, guys.
I would like to strongly advocate that you request a bathroom underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, which we are advocating for as part of Gotham Park. There are these awesome vaults right underneath the stair. And if we want to get people down into our communities, eating, drinking, and shopping, honestly, the best way to get them down that stair is going to be saying, hey, there's a nice, clean, free public restroom for you. And I think that would help our community in lots of ways.
That is not the zip code, that is the thing. So for right now, just so everybody knows, 1006 is from the top of World Trade Center down to what looks like Morris Street.
Yes.
In between Broadway to the West Side Highway. Oh, South End Avenue. Okay?
I'll tell you, I'll write you.
Yeah. Anybody has ideas, send them to Zach and I. All right, next, treetop funding. There we go. We got this fantastic opportunity, New York City Green Fund. I've shared it with some of the parks people, friends of. If you know of anybody who is looking for grant funding, it's an opportunity. It's for smaller gardens and smaller places. There we go. Next. New York City Water, now through November 15th. If you are a customer who pays your water bill directly, you can receive $100 off your next water bill by enrolling in AutoPay. I figure it's a good thing to share. Next. And last.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations to Mimi and Emily.
I invited Lucy to my wedding and none of you.
But yeah, Lucy was stalking us.
Right. Lucy was stalking the City Hall Park, so there we go. So congratulations, and with that, I close my chair report. Sorry. All righty. Let's move on to American Heart Association. Again, if you were not here for roll call for the first resolution, which was the minutes, you will be marked with your last name. You have to call out your vote on this with a last name and, you'll be marked with. Okay, American Heart Association, Wall Street Run. It's fairly self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions? With that, can I get a call to question?
Second.
Fantastic. All right. I'm going with, if you are online, please make sure your cameras are fully on. Don't make me chase you.
Tammy, can you count me as a vote, please? It's Laura.
So that's Star votes yes?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else who was not here for the roll call who would like to announce their last name and their vote?
Airman, yes.
Oh, yes.
Jimmy
Goldstein, yes.
Okay. So just let's let Colin catch up. That was Sung, Goldstein, Star,
This is for minutes?
and Airman
For,
for the vote.
For the Heart Association.
Heart Association.
Okay, I see what I'm saying.
Okay,
I got it.
and blank.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Knowing that, are there any no's? Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Capital and budget expense for year 2025. So everybody understands the process. You should have gotten the link to the Airtable so you could have seen everything, and everything I think is in the back end. Once we approve it here, it's due at the end of the month, so we'll be writing up the narratives that go on top of the overlay with everything and submitting at the end of the month. Does anybody have any questions, comments, questions? I'm gonna go one by one by one. I'm gonna start with Betty in the back of the room.
I want to know why the guidelines were excluded from last year. We knew we were passing a resolution that we asking for, right?
What guidelines?
For streets and historic districts.
I'm not sure, but that was for a study for the guidelines? I don't know.
It was for,
Good.
I don't know the study, it was to get together the group to develop the guidelines.
Okay,
You can see it was in last year and it was okay, it was agreed to have the last year.
all right, I will take a look at that and we can add that back in, no problem. I wrote that note. From Betty to Alice to Rosa, and then I saw another hand over here that I'm missing.
So a few didn't get picked up from our committee, that I had submitted to you guys, but I just wanted to review them. Number 59, on whatever.
The numbers don't make a difference because the numbers were.
Well, this was the air table that you circulated, to us all, so that was what I was using, so it's. the
It
air-
was, yeah, it was sorted differently.
Okay,
So just
well-
what's the topic?
The topic was the one that was mentioning the United States Army Corps did not get, but their funding renewed. Well, they did get their funding renewed, and that's incorrect. So we need to update that. I'm happy to work with you. And I think that given the community boards on the same topic, there was something that was discussed, which is the funding of the creation of the West Side Resiliency Task
That's on
Force.
here.
It's in here. It's
That's in
actually,
Oh, well, I didn't see it. I did not see the creation of the West Side Resiliency Task Force. That
It's
is
there.
in there as.
but you are right about the not true thing.
Yeah, okay. So,
hold
so
on,
you have
hold on.
something that says the funding for creation of the West Side Resiliency Task Force to research and plan for long-term holistic comprehensive resiliency from Chambers Street to
It-
Canal Street.
Yep, it's
Okay.
in there.
Sorry, I missed it. Then number 67, there is no actual, so I would remove it. Number 67 on, again, the air table is incorrect. There is no actual Holland Rotary Park. So you understand, what is the Holland Rotary was in the 19th century, a park called St. John's. What is being proposed by the Rotary group is to create a park. So we don't seem to have that in, but this would read, I think, because we reviewed
Hold
the
on.
committee.
Hold on, hold on.
I sent it to you already. I'll send it to you again.
But I understand that. And the thing is, if,
Is that under beautification of Holland Tunnel?
Yeah,
Park?
that doesn't, there is no park. So to
It's-
say it's a beautification, you have to first create
So
the park and
what
we're not
the-
beautifying it.
Maybe we
so
could
the
leave-
location says Holland Tunnel Park area is controlled by New York City and Port Authority and
Correct.
New York, New Jersey. Beautification of the Holland Tunnel, how about it says,
Okay, well, what we had talked about was funding to research the creation of a new accessible park with a resilient green surface referred to as a sponge with a water storage tank to be called Rotary Park in the area formerly known as St. John's Park at the Holland Tunnel Rotary.
I don't remember that at all. Okay, keep going.
So there it is. I can happily give it to you. And then one that didn't get in was the.
Hold on. Let me make
Okay.
that note because that'll need to be modified and we'll have to do it.
Be happy to. I have it right here. And then the last one was the addition of something, and maybe that I didn't capture either, was the funding to assist building owners to comply with local law.
Yep,
ID.
it's in there.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Funding for the creation of a West Side Resiliency Task
think-
Force is in there as well.
In the future, maybe one document that we're using
It-
together would be great. Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, that's it for me.
Wendy,
Uh,
green person over here, and then Rosa over there.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk offline because there's a few things here, like duplicates. I think that, like, is there a duplicate between this one we work with, you know, to implement stormwater retention for Barnett Newman? And then the next page is the same thing, design plan introduced such as bioswales, rain gardens, Barnett Newman. Like Barnett Newman is actually,
There are two asks, one for DOT, I think, and one for DEP.
no, they're both DEP.
Nope, one's DOT.
No. this one
DEP
says-
is designs plan green infrastructure bioswales, that's a DEP budget ask.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then the
there's
next
a
page.
DOT one.
No, and then it says DEP on the very next page, like on the same area. It's the third from the last DEP.
I promise we'll take a look, because there's one for DEP.
I saw what you're talking about,
And
but
there's
this is
one
still
for
a do.
DOT, and there's
Yeah.
another one for DEP.
Yeah, so this is a do.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I
we'll-
did see the other one that you're talking about, Barnett Newman.
Nope,
is-
Yep, I will just.
It is in here multiple times, more than any other part.
What's that?
No, I got it. I discarded the duplicate.
No, that's good.
More than twice?
No, and then I wanted to ask the question, initial funding for trees and planters to define the edges of the site and crosswalks. That seems to be for Barnett Newman Triangle for the environmental protection industry. I was just curious, like, should that be the only park that we're putting that in for? Or like the Peck Slip Park just came or other things?
I think that
So maybe it shouldn't
we
be.
just changed it, so, because the one that you're reading was actually not accurate.
Okay,
So
so
Barnett
maybe this is
Newman
more
has-
general.
Barnett Newman has a DOT site that adds trees and planters for a green street to define the edges and a crosswalk specific to Barnett Newman
Okay,
for DOT.
yeah, that's the
Right,
one we were
and
talking
then they
about.
have a DEP one that says green infrastructure, bioswale, rain garden resurfacing for that area. So they have
Okay.
two now, that's it.
Okay, that's great. And then, I was confused why the PS 150 crosswalk is not, so on the following page where it says, DOT build out mid-block crosswalks that serves PS 89.
That's a request from the 89 people directly. And
Terrific. And then at the
150
very
was
end,
changed to the conversations that were had at exec with input by the 150 through Rosa.
yeah, and that's the continued support at the end. And I was just
Mhm.
wondering if the two of those should be combined in some ways.
No.
Okay, so you don't want to do that? That's cool.
No, because
Um,
DOT views them as two separate areas, two separate issues.
Totally cool. Too cool. I was just wondering if we wanted to add, in the expense budget for conduct traffic or parking studies, provide funding to study impacts of Holland Tunnel related traffic on Canal Street and Lake Street in ways to mitigate negative environmental and quality of life impacts. To be more specific, given the news that we just got recently about, we have the second worst air particulate pollution of any place else in the city. I wondered if we wanted to add that detail in that line. If that's, or if it's, doesn't matter to DOT, doesn't care because it's more environmental.
Correct.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay, that was just a question. Holland Tunnel Sponge, I was thinking.
She's gonna just send us all of
That's
that.
good, that's good. Yep, that's good, that's good. That's all fine. School crossing is okay. And that one was true.
Bruce, you gotta wait. I see your hand, but we're gonna.
Yeah, yeah,
we'll just-
I'm almost done, There we go. Let's see. Yeah, so, I don't know what page this is. It's the capital, other budget.
Tell me what the.
For EDC, short, medium, flood resiliency infrastructure, we encourage innovation barriers design that is economical, effective, and that can be manufactured locally. Locally seems too ambitious, I would say, in the USA or in the Northeast or in, I mean, we're not a manufacturing area for big, heavy, flood barriers. So locally seems like a wrong term.
Domestically.
Domestically is a good word. Thank you. Good term. Good term. I also wanted to just ask if you could, on the next one, capital, other expense budget, Brooklyn Bridge, economic and social analysis, CB1 requested economic and social analysis to be studied for a sitting public facility amenity in this location, such as libraries, parkland, market space, active, passive recreation. Could we add a public pool in this place as well? Is that possible? Because EDC does have say over the plus pool, which I do think we could still bring back to our neighborhood.
And that goes well with what the latest announcement from City Hall is, public pool added.
Okay, thank you very much. And on the plus pool again, I was wondering if the, little further down, invest capital projects to improve access to waterfront, both temporary and long-term. Study of temporary impact uses can be used for any area, new market building. And then, this idea has come from the, that whole thing. If we could put specifically plus pool back in that for the new market site, because that is a perfect spot for the new plus pool.
I did not.
Okay, I'll leave that up to you.
We're gonna leave that because let's just get it first.
Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna worry about
That's fine, that's fine.
I just
there-
wanted to build.
I was just curious, there's no explanation with the capital and it says Manhattan anchorage of the Brooklyn Bridge from South Street to Park Row, Waterfront and Culture Committee. I didn't know what the explanation was. Maybe I don't know what Manhattan anchorage means.
I think that might be,
That I didn't.
that is
there's-
that's construct the New York Public Library. That's.
Okay, so maybe the explanation. just
Manhattan
didn't-
Anchorage is the Manhattan site bottom half of the Brooklyn Bridge versus the Brooklyn half of the siting of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Okay, so,
Anchorage meaning in the words that where the bridge is anchored into the island.
so the explanation is just like, there, it's just a
Correct.
blank
It's
spot there.
It's not, you're actually looking, there, it's there.
Oh, it's just.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And then I wondered, the capital, it's under a type of fund capital. It says funding to support programs serving families and children's temporary shelters. That is, my understanding is that's not a capital expense. That's a,
That's an expense. That's fine.
like, right?
I'm not really worried about that
Right, it's just in
because
the wrong thing. It's just not, it's not a
I'm
capital
not worried about
expense.
that because DCP will help us organize that later.
Yeah, because it's youth and ed under EDC.
I got it.
It's a
I
little bit
changed it.
confusing. Let's see, hang on a second, and we did the bus at one fifty.
Guess who's working on the budget committee next year?
So, let's see, and then there was two things for the signs. One is the traffic calming measure. This is an idea. And then earlier, someplace that was actually a sign. I was just wondering if they could be together.
We worked on that because the person who input them all individually instead of putting, we want this sign at these 4 intersections.
Okay.
So we're combining and condensing because you don't want to have 2,000. And when you're looking at all of them, DOT is gonna look in that zone, which places the signage will go.
Yeah, it just said DR or DPR for the agency.
Yeah.
And, so it's all good.
We
So
got,
that was all my comments. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Rosa.
So I have a lot of comments, some general, and
Jesus.
some very specific. Do you want me to go through them all, or do you want to do them offline?
Well,
Offline.
considering we vote today,
Okay, so.
if it's a major change, please say it now. If it's a minor tweak in a verbiage, it can be done later.
Okay, some of it's minor, so.
And next time, please come to executive committee when we're doing them.
I had a conflict that night. So
I-
just
mhm.
general notes, I would say that
Yeah.
here it says, what number are we at in terms of capital and expense? Because on the very first page, it says up to 40 capital and 25 expense budget. Do we know what number we're at for either?
Yeah, we're well over 60 on both. Well over 50 on both, so. there we
When
go.
we're that over, how does that affect the effectiveness of our list that we submit?
Unknown in a budget conscious environment. We can't, we load everything in, we put all our asks in there, we have some that are higher priority. But let's be honest, if DOT doesn't have the budget to do 25 signs, and they only have the budget to do 1, maybe it's not the first budget ask, and it's the 21st budget ask, but they have the finances to do that intersection. So it's not actually as linear as you would think it is.
Okay.
Is there any large errors that you would like to correct?
Yes, we are talking about pools in a lot of these. I found a lot of repeats actually, and a couple of them were literal, actual copy and paste repeats, but different numbers. Several times.
Don't go by the numbers.
Pool listed.
Yep.
I think there was a pool listed at least 3 times.
There are, in 3 locations,
Is it because they are in 3 locations?
yes. Brooklyn Bridge, New Market site, somewhere along the East Coast in terms of plus pools, that we've been advocating for it to be located anywhere along the resiliency program.
Right.
We've added, yeah, so as many places as we can ask for one for a free public pool, we do.
I'm wondering if it makes more strategic sense to actually consolidate those requests into one. And by that, I specifically mean that we've been talking with MOCEJ and EDC about putting a public pool inside the area right along Alfred E. Smith houses. So on the north side of South Street and the.
That's not
No.
community board one.
That's not community board
It's
one,
not
so
community
You don't
board.
care?
nope,
Okay.
no offense intended. If it gets there, I'm thrilled. We'll have access to it, but I still need to we need to ask for what we need within community board one.
Okay.
We did this for 4.5 hours the other
I
night.
was about to make that same point. I mean, are we going to just go through the
Proposals
budget
actually
tonight
went into
like we did the
executive
other
board
night?
meetings for a long.
No, this is, if you have anything large or anything that's a glaring mistake, we'll do that. And if it's not any of those two, and if it's a minor word here or there, you can certainly come and talk to Zach and I later.
Okay, number 43 is an exact repeat of.
Again, don't talk to me about repeat.
Look at that, guys.
All the repeats have been stripped.
Justify their existence.
We talk about bioswales and
Yep.
planters, and
Yep.
that's a lot in.
Yep, we do.
Does it make any sense to consolidate?
No, they're all in different locations. It's like, if you're asking for a stop sign from DOT, you don't just say, we want all our stop signs in District 1. They're location dependent. So we ask for them with purpose for specific location.
Okay, forget it.
Awesome. Bruce was next and then Pat.
Just want to say for anyone who might not have been on the board for, say, a decade or more. Rosa, the board is tasked, there are very few legal tasks with what we have to do. This is one of them. So I calculated the number of asks that we had times the 59 boards. That's 10,974 asks approximately. If anyone thinks that the city is going to adjudicate 10,974 asks, and it takes a lot of time for us to do this every year, landmarks committee, everything. It's just a little bit delusional to think that we
okay.
need to granularly edit. this
On the
document.
topic of delusions, I asked everybody to start thinking about budget in June, July, and September. And honest to God, the point in every committee that you guys are gonna do that is where you're gonna do that. And in fact, next year, you'll be passing individual resolutions by September for your committees for what you want for
Right.
budget. And then it'll come to us, okay?
And we're
not gonna.
So Tammy, is it inappropriate to say, call the question now?
I already recognized Pat first,
And after.
and then after that, feel free.
I forgot to ask for my left-hand turn off of West Street.
No, you didn't, it's in there.
It's in there.
It's been there forever, all
I'm gonna go down and- I'll put it up for you.
Derek,
Yeah, I
On the Greenwich Street reconstruction, is it possible to send that slightly north of that street?
nothing is in order yet. So there's no order that's on here necessarily. We have to go through and order everything.
No, I'm saying the range of streets to be, reconstructed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think so. I think I understand. You'll talk offline because we tried to get all the individual ones that you sent us. We tried to,
The same, I was just seeing the sort of.
okay, we tried to group them back to, so instead of having 135 or 140 at one point, I think we're down to 125. And we still have some dupes that we can merge, which would be lovely, which includes the stop signs at every intersection that you asked for. So we're looking for the stop signs for the traffic calming measures for the entire stretch. Okay, with that question answered, are there any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Let's go ahead and call the question.
Second. Fantastic. All in favor? Yep, that's what we're doing. We're raising hands, so we don't use roll call this. Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? And are there any no's? Motion passes unanimously. Let's rock. Thank you, everybody. All right, so first one up is landmarks.
You don't have five?
We do have slides.
Okay, great. And so we had two items. One is 32 Avenue of Americas, and one is 105 Chamber Street, the Carey Building. So everybody knows the Carey Building. And they wanted to replace cast iron with fiberglass, which is not permitted without a public hearing at Landmarks, and we didn't think it was a good idea to start replacing cast iron with fiberglass on such a special building, which is a through block, double cast iron.
Where were they gonna put the fiberglass?
You know, like here and there, but here and there sometimes becomes everywhere, and so this is one of those really special buildings. So we just kind of, we said no, and for that reason.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get that, that's fine.
Okay, so that's that one, and I don't think that.
Do we need to take these individually, Jason, or together?
You know, take them together, I think. They're both no's. And they're both like extraordinary buildings in the whole city. The other one is 32 Walker, right? Or
Hold on,
no,
this-
32 Avenue American.
This is the North Facade Reed, so this is the
Yeah, no,
continuation.
this
of
one's it.
my
This
change.
is it. You see where they have the green pieces is where they want to put fiberglass. And there's a Reed Street facade to the building, and then there's the Chamber Street facade to the building. They're pretty much identical. Okay, 32 Avenue of Americas, or, so this building, it was a an amendment to the master plan. I think we felt it was very heavy-handed. This is a little piece of land that's part of the lot, the property, but isn't built on, so they proposed this little.
Where is that?
That would be the north side of that whole block.
It's on the corner of Lisbon and
Yeah,
Sixth
building.
Avenue.
Yeah,
Sixth Avenue.
This will look like that.
There's
So-
nothing, that whole thing doesn't exist.
right, that's really just an empty piece of land, land. So that's one thing we thought was kind of like heavy-handed, that, we don't need that slide, okay,
They might be able to.
this
Okay,
is,
Jason, could you just, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to go. to
they
your
were
meeting,
like
but,
just 3 or 4 stars.
yeah, that's, could you just? Okay, you are gonna describe what you're showing.
I'm not gonna
Great.
go into, it's a lot of elevation, so I picked 3, 4 slides, this is the
Okay,
least intervention, because on this facade, they're just proposing to change what are flat show windows to kind of more department store style bay windows.
Mhm.
And for me, knowing what they're trying to replicate, it's not appropriate in this type of building. It's actually looks really weird to have a bay window kind of coming out of this. So I don't care for that. Next slide. So this one is Church Street, and there's currently a roll down gate. They want to propose 2 more roll down gates. You can kind of see between the top and bottom where there's not glass today and where they're proposing glass. Here for me, I'm not a big fan of adding roll down gates. But there is a bigger master plan that's been, vetted over the years. This is an amendment. These things that I'm highlighting are not part of that master plan, so it's not like we have to still give them this kind of glass that they want. Next slide. Okay, so Bruce wasn't there, but I know you want to say
And
something.
I'm not gonna say anything, I just wanted to, I couldn't be there at the meeting. One little note on the first one, Chamber Street, aside from the fact that it was completely done, like 14 years ago, all of this was replaced properly. Just wanted to point out, the second whereas, rotten out, I think you wanted to give a
Mhm.
raise.
Okay.
And I don't understand.
Right.
The second to the last whereas on the first page, it just seems like an anomaly. CB1 finds this replacement campaign reasonably.
No, you should just strike that. There's no.
Right, all of that. Okay, that's one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so second to last whereas on the first page of
Strike it.
105 gets completely stricken.
Yeah.
On 32 Avenue Americas, I worked there in the past. It's one of the so-called necklace of Ralph Walker Telco buildings downtown. The other being 60 Hudson, and then the Verizon building, which was seriously damaged in 9/11 and was properly restored. They've already intervened
Starbucks opened up a corner with glass. When they turned it into a Telco hotel, there is a Sputnik-like, this is the future circa 1961, what things will look like in 2020, kind of antenna assemblage on top. That's so disjointed that people actually like it. It was so completely other. So I applaud what we will here. That building deserves no further ruination. It's a magnificent building from Hotel, and the lobby itself is landmark, and it's gorgeous. And there's plenty of access into that building from both sides of the building.
Anybody else have anything they want to add for Jason?
Yeah,
Alice.
Jason, you wouldn't know this, and I'm sorry I couldn't go to this meeting and I should have been there, but the proposed roll-up gates on Lisbonard Street, there's, the noise there is off the charts because of the trucks that idle
Right.
outside to furnish that building's supplies. So the idea of having two roll-up gates that would obviously indicate more of that kind of activity should be noted. It's not something that the community would be in favor of. I don't know if that's something you want to add, but I definitely would also.
That's fine. I mean,
Sure.
yeah,
Okay.
Tammy wants to add it.
Okay, thank you. And then,
Who's the boss?
No.
Oh,
well,
she is.
I just want you to know that.
I'm
We wouldn't have
totally
known
for
if
it.
nobody showed up from the
Thank
street.
you for mentioning that.
And then the other thing is, I would just ask, the fact that a few people think it's visually pleasing, or 6 of you to be precise, I would beg to
Sure, we
differ.
don't need
And
that.
I think I might just put that, whereas a permanent
Hold on.
addition
Where does it say
is
6?
1, 2, 3, 4. You have 6 in favor. So 6 people voted on this landmarks and preservation resolution on 32 Avenue of the Americas, according to the document.
Yeah, that's a maybe. I put that there. I'm not a good counter, so you might want to press that on the sticker.
Okay, so,
So I'm just saying that.
but it's a
It's
committee vote.
irrelevant that it's
They're
not-
turning it down.
I know, I wouldn't point putting something that's visually pleasing, I'm just asking, or.
Sure, let's not, we don't need
Yeah,
that.
is whether you could just see the proposed triangulated addition on the corner of whatever, 6th and, actually that's Lisbonard. PD Board 1 is uncertain that the triangulated corner, whatever proposed addition, will stand the test of time to work within the historic.
Here, it'll now say a 1-story addition at the triangulated corner of 6th Avenue, Walker Street, with,
C1 is
which references to the Walker Street design apparent, is a permanent appendix to the building, and CB1
does not believe.
does not believe it will stand the test of time homogeneously with the original historic building.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Just.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. So, after, thank you.
No, thank you for all the
Okay.
hard work. Okay, so that's it.
Can I call the question?
Yes.
Again, okay, again, it's a hand raise. All in favor? Are there any no's?
So these are both.
Yeah, we're taking them together. If you're going to say no, you have to say your last name and for which one or both.
Almonds a no on 2.
On both?
No on number 2.
Which one's number
Which one's
2?
number 2?
32.
Okay,
Three is also no on number 2.
for 32 Avenue of the Americas.
Correct.
Are there any other no's? Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion's passed. Thank you, Jason. All right, moving on, DOT, transportation. I think, aren't we transport? Oh, dang it, waterfront park, sorry,
Andrew.
Andrew.
So I'm gonna move through these pretty quickly. Friends of Green Street Park came to the meeting with a proposed redesign, different from what we saw earlier in the year. They were seeking a resolution to support the new design. We did not have quorum, so we're going to take it back to the November meeting. So I'll bring that back next month. Barnett Newman Triangle, there's an art installation that's currently there. I believe it was expected to be removed mid-November. They came to us indicating they don't have any plans for an additional installation, so they were basically reaching out to see if we were okay to extend the installation that's currently there. Again, we couldn't take a formal vote, but in an advisory capacity, the committee was okay essentially extending. And then Friends of Peckslip Park, they came to us to showcase the progress they've been making in plantings and beautification of that area. And they went quite deep into the native plantings that they've been able to successfully integrate into that space. And they were seeking financial support going forward to help them with some of the annual expenses associated with their maintenance of that park. Again, in an advisory capacity, we were supportive. And at Exco, we integrated that into the broader budget aspects. So awesome. That's it. Yeah.
Just want to say for the record, and unfortunately I couldn't make this meeting, but the Barnett Newman Triangle Art in the Park is a little bit different than all other Art in the Park programming in that it is a piece that has been provided by a local gallery and noted as such. This is Louis Augustine, a very fancy New York City gallery. And something that we should all consider as a board, and it's something I'm going to bring and ask that the committee consider, is ways to have these groups, like these private concerns, like a gallery who is showing their private work in a public space, somehow give to these friends groups if this were to happen again, so that there's a bit of an exchange here. And it's something that I've talked about with Paul, and I'm hopeful we can address as a resolution.
There's never been a solution from the beginning to the art that was supposed to be integral to Barnett Triangle for various reasons. But now we've gone from 2 to something like 70 galleries, right? They are big galleries.
Right.
And they should, this is like an opportunity.
Unbelievable. Right.
We should go to them. Well, we will.
Good, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, for Andrew for the thing. Thank you also to Rosa and Wendy in terms of parks, because it's happening this week. Tomorrow morning. I just want to, it was a really nice community sort of get together and help because of the Battery Park City Resiliency Project and all of the plants that are being ripped out in the battery. The battery has done an amazing job hooking Rosa and Friends of Peckslip Park and others up to be able to recycle and replant the plants. So it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have a lot of, and Elizabeth's on that email and a bunch. So it's really nice to see that happening. So thank you very much.
Is Friends of Peckslip Park Incorporated?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And then for the record, Tricia, because you voted on landmarks, I need you to say your last name in the vote because you weren't here for the first one.
Okay, Joyce, yes.
Thank you.
Oh, she here?
Yeah, she is. She's in the room over there.
She's like right there now.
All righty. And I just wanted to call that out because that's kind of a lot of what we do on the community board, and spreading the love, spreading the joy to get things like that done was really helpful, and it wouldn't have happened without
I have
that
to
kind
say,
of.
it was all Megan Rosterman.
Right.
I mean, she's the one who did all of the work to coordinate with the battery and ask them and make sure
Yeah.
that this happens, so.
So it's a shout out and thank you, because that's how community board helps each other. So again, if you know anybody who's looking for plants in any other corner park anywhere, we can put them in touch with the battery.
Take pictures, show
Yeah.
pictures next.
Or wants to dig in the dirt tomorrow morning, join
Yes.
us.
We have a very short window of time, so if you're available.
Exactly. All right, I didn't want to let that go without saying thank you to everybody on that. And now, where's Betty? Transportation.
Very soon.
Ah, hey Betty. Oh, dang. You want to do your report first?
Fine.
I keep seeing resolutions, so I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, no, okay, I mean, okay, there are some pictures, which is probably much better than the 1,000 words I would give it. This was an interior drainage report. I will say for anyone who's interested in understanding combined sewer overflow in New York City, this was a fabulous presentation by the Battery Park City Authority team, their engineers, really excellent and good exchange. So I would highly recommend it. It's on, again, their terrific website. The authorities, got a tremendous website with all the information recorded there. That said, what you're looking at, that first picture was a rendering of the floating band shell and the Jeff Koons in the marina, which we all got a kick out of. So, it's obvious that we need to manage the stormwater on the land side. And so this was the focus of the drainage report. And it was, a good hour and a half. So just to make it brief,
the stormwater is collected and there's obviously two types of sewers, the stormwater and the combined sewers. Where stormwater and sewage water comes together, we want to prevent these obviously from backflowing into the neighborhoods when there are storms and when there is sea level rise. The authority looks at both very carefully, what happens in sea level rise today and in 100 years, and what happens with storms of the 1 year and the 100 year. And from that draws the conclusions of what they are proposing in this drainage. And basically what you're looking at just in terms of the experience of what you'll see is that Rockefeller Park will be getting a certain amount of kind of evening out and such. But other than that, there isn't much in the park itself that they were revealing. Where we're going to see a change is where there is going to be a pump. And I think that's, I can barely see these slides, but that is a picture of the isolation regulator that shows you how the water comes out. This is like the advanced class. I would be here for a really long time to explain it. I could, but I'm not going to. So I would ask if you're very interested, either talk to me or just give me time or go listen to that. YouTube actually is excellent. The pumps are, the purpose of the drainage is to, obviously the purpose of drainage is to get the water out. And so in order to do that in a time of storm, you're going to have to push the water out, right? So you need a pump. So where that pump goes was what the question was. And they looked at 3 different areas. I think I have the slide of that, I hope. I'm going through this at rapid speed. Oh, so they looked at what it meant to have a temporary pumping station versus permanent, and they decided that it was much better to have a permanent because it was more reliable, it was less complex a system, it didn't have storage requirements for these large impermanent pumps. And so as a result, they came up with that conclusion, and these were the 3 areas they looked at. You're looking at the Battle Road Park Steel, 3, 2, and 1. 1 was ultimately the selected site, at least for now, as they continue their research, and that is in front of Stuyvesant High School on the western area, that large expanse of pavement that you see in front of the school there. That is where they're going to put this pump. This pump is primarily underground, we learned. There will be some piece of it above ground, a stair and a enclosure, which would be something like, they said, the size of a news kiosk, let us see. But that is what they told us. And you would also see, of course, the venting for the station. And that's pretty much, and maybe there's other slides here, I don't know. That's a picture of the underground pump. And why they situated there, you can see in the upper right, you'll see that there's the large tunnel or pump, what's the word, pipe that's going out into the Hudson River. That exists, and so this is actually, they say, a very favorable location because of its proximity to that particular piece of infrastructure. I think, and that was the conclusions they drew, which you can read through, obviously limiting the flooding, pumping the stormwater out, and how they were planning on doing it. So anyway, that's it. Watch the recording. Thank you. It was a terrific report. Get an idea. We will have drainage in Battery Park soon. Thank you.
Okay. Now, transportation. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that we're as efficient as we can be, so apologies on my overeager to get to the next committee. Betty, you're on.
Well, a little bit unusual. I'm going to present a little bit on the first presentation. Then we'll have the resolution and somebody might have to mention. We're going to go on to the next one. We had a presentation about Omni. And the switch to be occurring from the Metro card to Omni. This is only for senior discounts and disabled discounts. Those who are familiar with the Omni system, this talk was only about the card. Moving on to the next information. In the middle, you can see that they're starting to roll out the machines for the Omni card. You may not want to, if you're senior or disabled, you probably don't want to use it right now. Next.
You don't want to use it what?
You don't want to use it right now.
No.
The Omni card. Yes. No, anyway, it is a contactless fare payment system. And it will allow you to do a lot of things if you use a smartphone, if you use your watch or debit card or credit card. Senior and disabled discounts are available using Omni, those methods. But for those people who are going to use a card, one, you have at least a year, because they don't expect, the current card, my mind is blank, the Metro card to go out until at least the end of next year. But anyway, they're in the transition. Omni cards will be sent out to people who are already on the MTA system for a disability discount or a senior discount. Go online, make sure your address is up to date, because that's the address they're going to be sending out these Omni cards. Only the Omni cards sent by mail by the MTA will be usable for discounts. Others won't. You can't buy one in a machine and then ask the MTA to please put my discount on it. They can't do it. I won't do it. So I do want to stop those people with discounts. Wait, and for some of the mail, and make sure your address is up to date. For those who want to know about student discounts or fares, Omni's not even ready. They said it's a whole different system, and someone other than the MTA has to work it out. So I am not talking about those programs, and Omni has no idea when that's going to happen. So, updates. As far as the resolution, this is permanent bus stop.
We're gonna speak your Bob's.
Take it. Bob, take it outside the room, please. Betty, keep going. Sorry.
Request to move a permanent bus stop and it's permanently relocating from Church Street between VC and Barclay, all the way from Fulton Street. So it's basically moving one block north. And it's on the east side of the street, and they're in existing bus stops. So Big Bus, you're all familiar with who they are, and this route is, go on to the next one. The route is not changing. We're talking about the stop number 10 would be moving one block north. And that's because well, let's go to the next one. Yeah, it is one block north, and if you look at the map, there already are existing MTA stops there, and there are already buses stopping there. So there's nothing new, no new stops, no new anything. Go to the next. And if you want to see the one that's kind of hiding behind the scaffolding, that's the one we're talking about very specifically. It's not too far north of BC Street, but there is another MTA stop down at the end of the block, down on the corner by Barclay. We're talking about this one. And the information from the DOT, so it is just a move of a block. The reason is a scheduling conflict with an MTA bus. Big Bus did not want to move their stop. MTA said, we're changing our schedule, you can't use the stop anymore. Okay, so again, there'll be no change in the route, there's no change in what they do. Their pickup and drop offs only, it's Monday through Sunday, it's 10:50 a.m. to 9:35 p.m., again, no change. And it's a bus lane anyway to go. So what was voted on by the committee was that we supported the taxi tours, doing business with Big Bus, to make this one block move. But it was also put in that it has an opportunity to reevaluate in 3 months, because there was one person on the committee that was concerned the sidewalk is too narrow. DOT says it's 12 feet and it's not too narrow, it's standard. But anyway, we'll have to look at this again in 3 months.
Okay, call question. Love that.
Second.
All right, so again, even if you are online, if you have not been here for a prior vote, you will need to unmute yourself and tell us your name and your vote. Without that, we're gonna go by hands in the room. All in favor? Do I have any noes?
Thompson, no.
Thompson, no. Are there any other noes? Are there any abstentions? Meltzer abstains. And I think Brown Kennedy just abstained. And that also means she's marked present. Nope.
Got it.
Okay. All right. And are there any recusals? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much.
And the last item that I'm going to talk about is that this is really just to make an announcement. Another resolution was discussed and voted on in committee. It was about streets in landmarked historic districts. You heard me talk about briefly with the budget item. And this is a request for the development of guidelines. The resolution passed unanimously, but it was tabled, which is why I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It was tabled to give landmarks some time to look over and see if they had any comments to make before it comes to full board.
Landmarks is gonna talk about it in November on their agenda, so,
I did come back here in December then.
yeah. Okay. Anybody have any other questions for Betty? Fantastic, thank you so much. Susan Cole, take us away.
Okay, so very, quickly, we're gonna do 16 Murray Street, and I would like, they're all these, guidelines, mandates from the state keep changing. And I'd like to first really acknowledge the staff, Onej and Lucy, who've been fabulous around all of this. And then I have to acknowledge Tammy, because I couldn't have done this without her. This is unbelievable, and she really has worked very hard on this. It's a mess. I just want you to all know this, and that's why we've taken it to the executive committee, because it's too much, and it is, everything changes every minute, and it's just horrible. But I want to, there is Nubia who is applying for 16 Murray Street. There's, issues around 16 Murray Street in that I'm doing full disclosure, that it's a very quiet residential, area. We had thought she needed a lease from the landlord. She does not, because it's a dispensary, and there is a new regulation that has come out that if you're a dispensary, you don't need a lease.
Well,
I don't know. What?
Hold on. So she's a COD, did I pronounce that right?
Yes, COD.
A card licensee. She's one of the first applicants.
Right.
There is, the community board opines regardless of what happens with the lawsuit. There is an opportunity that she can reapply and re-notify for a general dispensary pending what the legislature does with the pause. That's what we were, right? Zach and I were on a call today. That's what was explained. However, the community board is going forward with her application because she filed an application to the community board in September. We filed for an extension. The Office of Cannabis Management said she does not have the provisionary license yet, but it doesn't make a difference because it's all about, she got here first. She actually has an LOI from the realtors that the landlord signed at some point.
Yeah, letter of in, yeah.
It doesn't. I looked back through her notification. OCM says she doesn't.
No.
But she has a provisionary, you have a provisionary card license, not, they're different types of applications.
They're
yeah.
different types.
of applications.
Right.
Yeah.
License and it's open.
Right.
The first license in his car.
Right, so she has provisional for that, even though that is under right now a pause from the court system, that doesn't mean that she doesn't go through our system and we don't have the conversations that we have. And so, for better, for worse, I mean, man, give her credit, she's here, right?
Well,
And she's been trying since September, and everything we've asked, like a regular applicant, she's come back and said, okay, I can give you that, let me get that together. So while we're getting it together, and I will tell you, things have changed from, we went to Onej and I went to a training and Susan on October 9th. Rules changed on October 10th. They did a second training on October 11th, did not tell us it would be any different than the one on the 9th. And then I found out on the 19th that it was totally different information, only a verbal. And I still don't have it because they haven't sent it. So we're operating the best that we can with the guidance that we're getting. And that's all I have to say on this topic.
But
Susan.
there are two issues here, wait. Just wait. They have allowed us to limit the hours of these dispensaries, am I correct? Tammy?
Yes.
And Zach, to 70 hours. sorry, Nubia, I have to say this, you have 89 hours. So it's our only control if we want to control something in terms of time to 70 hours. And because it's so complicated and I want her to be successful, but yet where it's located, how it is, are the big issues for the community. So that's one thing. And then the other is that we had a long discussion that some people on the committee wanted her to have her staff who do deliveries, am I correct, Nubia? To have, no, not identification, to have markings, you know, big time, whatever. And correctly so, I happen to agree with her that to have these T-shirts or whatever could lead to trouble for the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they will have IDs, but they will have their personal IDs. That's what they will be carrying. But to have big notifications on carrying cannabis, you know, whatever, and money, whatever it is.
Just wear a Grateful Dead t-shirt.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, because, yes.
There was a
but-
city ordinance that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So that's where we are. I don't know whether anybody has any questions. Oh, Bob, yes.
There were 3 hands up already in the room.
Okay.
So understand that Nubia is here. We are not relitigating everything, right? If we have specific targeted questions, great. If it's a policy question, don't bother. So Bob goes first, and then who's in the back?
I have a friendly amendment.
Okay.
The newbie. That the CB one requests that all products be labeled with the percentage of THC of their products, and that the products being offered are offered with the lowest, in the store, the lowest possible THC levels that they have. That's my health question for the kids in the.
There's regulations on that.
I know there are regulations. I understand there are regulations. This needs to go in there because it just needs to be reiterated. And there are millions of regulations. We always put in regulations, but this needs to go in there.
I don't understand the second part of
The
it.
second part is that, thank you. The second part is that these stores are upping, they're trying to push larger THC levels in the customers, when the customers come in, that they're giving them large, I'll give you an analogy. I go in for a glass of wine, a bottle of wine into a liquor store, and they say, oh no, you don't want that wine, you want to drink this tequila. And basically, they're not selling wine, they're selling popped up products.
Can you repeat the last part?
The second part is that the products being, and the wording is a little awkward, the products being offered should be offered with the lowest should include the lowest possible THC levels that are available.
I don't know if that's.
I don't think we can do that, Bob. I'm gonna ask, wait, I'm gonna ask Nubia, who's right here, about this.
Well, we can have a range. All come in the store have the lowest level.
Yes,
Oh, yes, we can have a range
Yeah.
we will. from
yeah,
what-
many of the stores do not. What would, do you know the lowest
It has-
percentage?
Been to a lot of the dispensaries that are open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. We plan on altering one levels.
Do you know what those levels are, by chance?
Well, we would have to see what the growers are offering.
Yeah, no, that's something permissible,
Yeah,
that what's available. I use the word what's available.
Yeah, I don't know exactly because I haven't been to.
Right, I
every store.
understand, I understand.
Know what level that's available.
That's available,
But we will try.
and that they be labeled also, and that they.
Everything.
Yeah, but they're not, and,
Okay, Bob,
yeah,
Okay.
done.
so I'd like, can we
So-
put that in?
So, yes, the
Yes.
applicant says we can put in a
Thank you.
range.
And we will accept
And we will.
it.
You'll accept those two?
Yep.
Yes.
Andrew and
I can
then
go
Brendan.
quiet for it.
Bob? Don't make me have Lucy give me back that gavel.
Yeah, just a point of clarification on the comment that they don't need to have a lease with the. owner.
Correct.
Is that they don't need to have an effective lease to bring their application forward. Coming to it.
This came out October 17th. Thank you, Onesh. And Tammy. All applicants except those seeking retail dispensary and micro business licenses must submit proof of control of their proposed premises to complete an application. She does not need that because she is a retail dispensary, the way I read it. Am I correct?
Correct. She has a card license, so she's already provisionally approved. And she has up to 12 months to provide that documentation. Mimi's gonna make an announcement.
Oh, hey, can everybody just silence your phones?
Yeah.
I feel like that should just be a given, but I know that to mention it now because everybody's phone has been going on. It's covered out.
And,
Andrew, any other questions?
Is there any logic or rationale to?
Oh, Andrew.
Right.
Oh, please, Andrew.
Like I said, no policy questions, but this is also why I announced at the top that we went to Assemblymember Lee to and Assembly and Senator Kavanaugh and others for help. Because the state framed the legislative part, the agency was supposed to make all the rulemaking. The rulemaking does seem to be somewhat
Say it.
cart before the horse kind of a thing. Yeah. Okay. No, Bob, you have to wait till everybody else goes.
Okay, then I have a question.
Go.
In the therefore be it resolved that clause, it says that, it opposes the grant unless the applicant complies with the limitations and conditions set forth above.
Right.
What are the limitations and conditions?
The hours.
Okay, just the hours. All right. Thanks.
And we did have other conversations about, for example, there'll be live and recorded background music with no subwoofers.
Yeah.
And then they tend to have a DJ at the grand opening events only, meaning that they won't have a DJ in there. That they will come back and that they are granted for 6 events per year without the use of the subwoofer. Like all of those are the stipulations that have already been signed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Vera.
16 Murray has a rooftop, and I just wanted to make sure there wasn't gonna be any use on the rooftop or sales on the roof. The rooftop is not a part of the commercial property, it's a part of the.
The co-op.
Okay, that's great.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay,
The
any,
cooperative.
before I come back to Bob for a second choice, does anybody else have any other questions in the room or online? Okay, Bob.
I have
floor
two
is-
questions that are related to this. One, comment, I bet you those 28 applications that are coming to us are all being, many of them are probably storefronts that are existing now and they're asking to get legitimized. That's just a hunch. That's just a hunch.
So-
And the second question.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Every application that we now send to them, which is a questionnaire, requires them to take a time-stamped photograph of the front of the location that they're
Yeah.
applying for.
Mhm.
And that is very specifically because we do have the list of who is a legal retail tobacco store.
Right.
And if any of the illegal stores apply with those addresses, we'll be recommending that they are declined by the Office of Cannabis Management.
Okay, that's your opinion. That's not the community board's position yet. That's your opinion.
No, we have to report them because they're illegal, and then we put it in the
Yeah,
notification.
all the people, this whole concept of selling marijuana was to take people that had done it illegally and now make them legal. So I don't agree with your
Bob,
interpretation. Let me just say the second part. I don't agree with a lot of what has been going on, and there's never been a real discussion about it at the community board. Second, I would just
not about
also
this
say, will this committee that deals with all these licenses, will that be an in-person committee?
It's going through executive. It will be held at executive committee every month.
So I don't think that's right either. I think that people that are interested in it should be able to discuss it.
They should, and they should come. Why can't you
You
come?
can't vote at the executive committee. can't vote.
You go and you discuss. It's not a problem. If we had the bandwidth, Bob,
Yeah.
to set up a separate committee, that would be great. But that would mean that we're not fighting people for quorum. I
I
can't.
can't
I
speak
don't-
to that, Tammy.
But it
That's-
will come back to the full board, Bob.
That's right. If you're interested,
If
you
it
should
passes.
definitely come to executive committee
Come.
and you can make whatever dialogue you want. But we don't have a
Okay,
separate
no, I hear you.
committee.
That's fair. That's fair. So I just have to say,
And you're not on licensing either. So, and that,
no,
the other one.
look,
so-
I just have to say that, as I've been saying for the last couple of months here, that it's a public health hazard. And that we should try to address the public health hazard, not who's breaking the law or who's not. It can be a public health hazard, and it is a public health hazard.
I welcome, okay. I want to call the question because you're talking policy and that's not going to be here. Come
I
to
don't think I'm
executive.
talking politics.
It's also
That's what you think.
Hold on. Come to the executive committee. If you want to head up a task force on this,
Okay, thank you.
I am happy
I
to have you
appreciate
do
it.
that.
I appreciate it.
I don't think most people disagree with you, but we have to
just wanna know that
separate.
But it can be
that.
solved. I agree with these people's job.
Okay,
But-
point of order.
All right,
Let's,
you
let's,
called the
I called the
question.
question. Can I get a
Second.
second? Okay.
Yeah, you.
I don't
I
have the
know,
time.
I know, I
Right.
know.
Then you know what, Bob? We do not need a roll call, I don't feel on this.
No.
If it turns into chaos, we will. Bob, if you don't have time, but you read the materials, feel free to send me your.
Okay,
written
thank you. I
comments.
appreciate that, Tammy.
All right. We're gonna go by affirmation. Again, if you're online, make sure that your cameras are all on, intent, and that you're able to vote. Yeah. All right. All in
And this is
favor?
with the hours at 70 hours.
Are we changing the hours to the hours?
Will you agree to it? Yes, you will. I think that's at this moment in time, and you can come back in 6 months and we'll deal with it, but but we are allowed to do that.
9 hours.
We gave her 89 hours.
No, then you need to change it in here because it has her hours in here. That's gonna be.
I know.
Break the law.
You can check back, but it's not limited to card. Card doesn't have the 70-hour limitation.
It doesn't, all right, I believe
So,
you.
yeah, I believe it.
We're going with what we have
We
on
have,
here.
we're going with what we.
But does it have,
Give her
but
89
Susan,
hours.
have you added my two things in there?
Yes.
All right, all in favor? Hands up.
Yeah, you got, well, you got what
Okay.
we have to say.
Are there any no's?
Does the community board get a discount?
You need to say your last name and.
No.
Ray said no. Are there any other no's?
Yes, give it to me. Lou.
Susan, quiet.
Oh,
You? No.
Colin,
Anybody else?
you need to vote out loud.
Mahoney, no. Sorry.
Are there any other no's? Juno. Any others? Are there any no's online?
Yeah.
Are there any abstentions?
Zelker abstain.
Meltzer.
Kennedy abstains.
And Brown Kennedy abstained. Are there any recusals? Fantastic. Motion passes.
thank you,
Media-
Nubia.
Congratulations and thank you.
All right, so two other things. 78 Leonard never came in. It shouldn't be on the agenda.
Okay.
And Alice has a friendly amendment to a Governor's Island, and then we can take everything all at once.
Please read the friendly amendment for the record.
On the sixth whereas, just so we know that what wasn't established as a restaurant is in fact a private restaurant that will go into QC Spa on Governor's Island. It's not a public restaurant, so we want to make sure. That, so the proposed restaurant will be this is whereas 6. Proposed restaurant will be private and initially open to spa guests only. The restaurant has been designed so that it could be open to the public at a later date. I'm quoting Sarah Krautheim from the trust. And therefore be it further resolved, CB1 urges that 111 Andes Road be open to the general public as soon as possible.
Restaurant.
Yes,
Okay, yes.
that's, I think the name of the restaurant.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
thank you.
Hermie. It's each one.
So we could take them all together. Unless
Okay, does
anybody has.
anybody have any questions on anything else that is within licensing?
Just to make sure, 78 Leonard didn't show up, we're not voting on that.
That's right.
Correct.
Correct.
Jared, do you have a question?
The Governor's Island one, the spa itself, is open to the public though? Like you can go and book a.
Yes.
Yes,
It's not membership.
it's not membership,
No.
it's government.
Okay. Any other questions? Are there any questions from anybody online? Hearing no questions, seeing no questions.
We're
Whoop,
talking 190, 111, 170, 69, all at once, 1021.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Just confirm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all together. All right. All righty. Hearing and seeing none, let's roll. All right.
All in favor?
All in favor? Thank you. I lost my brains for a second there. Okay. Are there any noes? Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Youth and Ed. Tricia?
All right, I'm gonna stand up because I don't know if everybody can hear me.
That's perfect. You gotta face the camera.
I'm seeing my mother this week, so I have my mask on. We had Kelly McGuire, District 2 Superintendent, come for a meeting. And he, just, we're gonna have him come quarterly to just report on what's going on for kids K-8. That's a jurisdiction. He opened by saying that all of the schools, the chancellor had reached out and they are all holding sessions to help the children process the information about what's happening in the Middle East. They rolled it out very quickly, which I was happy to hear. The next thing he said is that they are getting the initial results back by, they installed a new curriculum last year. They let go of some of the curriculum that a lot of people in this community had trouble with and went back to what is actually a more traditional curriculum in a lot of ways. And the early results are that they are narrowing the achievement gap. So they are really happy. And with these initial results, they caution us that they're initial. The teachers are still being familiarized with the new curriculum. It's rolling out differently at different schools. The middle school admissions, the screens were paused during the pandemic. They paused it again this year, but next year there's going to be a change. 4 of our zoned schools, our middle schools, are going to again have screens. The program will be different. They are going to have it at Wagner, at Baruch, at Morton Street, and at Sun Yat-sen. And those are all zoned middle schools. They will not be having any screens at any of the other District 2 middle schools, any other middle schools, period. But they're rolling out a program at those zone schools for those families that would be interested in that. What else do I have for you? Oh, they launched a District 2 Instagram page. So that's just gone online for those who are interested in having a look. PS 51 is having some challenges. They are a very diverse school in Hell's Kitchen. They have a lot of kids seeking asylum at this school. So they just, to mention that as being a school that needs some support right now. Bob talked a little bit about the after-school situation in regards to our asylum seekers. So we have that back on the agenda next month to continue that discussion. We obviously need a ton of support in that area, both financially, in terms of people processing, and Rosa brought up a great point about dual language speakers. We are really, really short on them in this situation. The PS 150, still having problems with traffic, mostly because the way that it was supposed to, all the protections that we spent 4 years putting in place for that school to open seamlessly with the South Plaza on Edgar Street, this widened sidewalk, and the closed street in the morning for drop-off. None of that happened. The building was still under construction. They had the sidewalk completely closed off because of the work that was being done above, much like Spruce Street. But unfortunately, these kids didn't get to stay in an incubation. innovation space like the Spruce Street School did, and they had to make their way to school with all this scaffolding, with only Trinity Place to cross. It's been a mess. So 1 year after they said they would, the scaffolding came down. There still is a lot of equipment strewn on that south sidewalk, but it's better. Their application has still not been approved for that open street in the morning. We already agreed on it like a year and a half ago. We did not get the funds in. We understand that buses have to come up through the tunnel and up onto Greenwich Street and up Trinity Place in the afternoon. So we worked the whole thing out, but it's still not happening. We're really hoping that's going to happen soon. We've invited them to 2 meetings. They have not come. So hopefully this month will be the month where we start to see some movement there. The 5th graders at PS 150 actually did a traffic study. We have invited them to come to the meeting. We're sure that it's probably better than anything we've seen so far. So we're really looking forward to that. Right after that, the DOT claimed that they were going to also do theirs. So this should be a really interesting meeting. Cody came and reported on BMCC. We have someone at BMCC in our committee that was so lucky and great to have him talk about the community center there. A lot of people still thought that pool was closed. It was closed for renovations because it was cracked. It is definitely back open. They have a membership from September 5th through June 30th for $300. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. And Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 12. For those of you who had a hard time with the hours at the Stuyvesant Community Center, this will come as great news. They're exactly different. So it just opens up our option in terms of neighborhood community centers. For the senior rate, 65 and over, it's $200. Matthew Rudis is the athletic director. They still have room in their programming for full-time for sports. So if there's teams or, you know, anybody who's interested in speaking with them, you can contact Matthew Rudis, who's the athletic director there. Let's see what else we have. Study, that might be everything. Awesome. Yep, I think that's it. No resolutions this month.
Thank you very much, Tricia. All righty, moving on. Justine. Oh, Jeff.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. Justine's online, but just on it.
We have some more slides, I think.
Next one.
And the next one? Okay, so the first item that we addressed was a construction update to the South Battery Park City Resiliency Project, which many of you may remember includes a portion of historic Battery Park as well. And beginning on supposedly October 16th, I haven't actually gone down there to see whether the fences have gone up, but the construction fences were due to go up last week. And they span essentially Battery Place from West Street all the way to State Street. So those of you who live north of there or in Battery Park City who are used to getting into Battery Park by just going straight through Pier A Plaza, you can't do that right now or probably for the next couple of years during the construction project. Most of Battery Park is open, and this figure on the diagram here shows the area that's closed, the area within the red boundary there. Some of it's for staging, some of it's for construction. The bikeway and the sidewalk will remain open but narrowed on the south side of Battery Place. So be very careful if you frequent that area, because there will be bikes and pedestrians crammed into a much smaller space. Next slide.
2025.
Okay. We also had a report, this wasn't a construction report, but the beginning of a dialogue on the programming and uses of the new pavilion to be built, that is being built in Wagner Park. And here's a rendering of what it would look like to the human eye from this particular vantage point from, let's say, a helicopter along the water, which most of us hopefully won't be riding. But if we go to the next slide, we'll see a cross section of the
Oh, sorry, I was under the table. We're doing power. Transfer of power.
Looking down on the pavilion, the north wing and south wing. South wing is slated to be a restaurant, but similar to Gino's that was there before, but it's not necessarily Gino's. It will be a larger space. The square footage of the restaurant space that you see there will be roughly the same as Gino's most recent indoor plus outdoor area. In addition, there will actually be room for a real kitchen on the lower floor there. This is a multi-level facility. The restaurant itself would be on the park level. And then there's a lower floor that is on the Battery Place level, where the utilities and whatnot would be, including a kitchen space. On RF, request for, how many, RFEI, request for expressions of interest went out in early October to vendors interested in licensing that space and running a restaurant or whatever there. The responses are due in November, and the authority, Battery Park City Authority, committed to working with the community board, perhaps even permitting us to have a working group to review the responses, subject to confidentiality. But Tammy made that request, and Gwen was quite responsive to it. Gwen Dawson, one of the presenters for the authority. So the responses to the request for interest are due in November. The authority intends to have a follow-up meeting with the committee in December, and the idea is to solicit actual proposals, hopefully by early next year, 2024. The request for expressions of interest, as I said, include restaurant, but not necessarily limited to restaurant. They're asking people to be expansive in what they think they may want to do with that space for the vendors. The northern wing is indicated as a community room there, and it's also quite a large space. And that's intended to be, community space, including a place where we have a community board meeting, perhaps. The authority is requesting community input as to how that space should be used and programmed. And we expect the Battery Park City Committee in particular to be part of the sounding board for that. I think that's all on that particular subject. I don't have a slide on it, but Asphalt Green came and presented their plans for free senior membership. So it's even cheaper than BMCC's senior membership. Currently open to Battery Park City residents. It's expected to be open to the public at large beginning in November. Applications for these free memberships, public at large seniors, 65 or older. They are potentially limited in supplies, but they are talking about a couple of hundred at least free senior memberships. These would be daytime memberships. The idea doesn't apply to me, but that you would not be working when you're that age. And so the hours are from 8 to 3 p.m., I believe. But if you can get away between 8 and 3 p.m., you've got the run of the facilities there, the pool and everything else, as well as the various classes and so forth. The only other things, we monthly have the reports from the authority on the various goings on in Battery Park City for the month, including security reports. Those reports are available. I won't go into the details of them, but they're very interesting, and they're available on the authority's website. And I think we might post them on our own website. Alice, next question. Alice.
I had a quick question. Did they review, when is the pavilion going to be built? What's the completion date?
2025. Everything is supposed to be, I mean,
Are the plans 100%, are they through construction documents at this point?
we were just talking about programming, you know, but I believe they are in construction. They're constructing. Yeah.
Well, certainly part. And did they talk about the roof at all? I know the community was really interested.
The roof will be open to the public and potentially programmed as well. And the roof of both spaces, they're not intending to license the roof of the restaurant or the roof, I mean, license in the sense of a particular vendor.
We certainly need an update on that, but also on the whole environmentally conscientious building that's supposed to happen with solar panels and access to the roof and all of that. So I hope you'll keep track of that.
And no coal-fired oven, right?
No coal-fired, yes, the RF request for information, I can't spit out those letters easily, does specify environmental concerns, including no coal ovens and, you know, sustainable operation and equipment in the spaces.
Okay.
Question.
Andrew?
Yeah.
For any discussion around the financial benefit of the restaurant and the licensing arrangements? I guess that's one. And two, when you mentioned community engagement for the other building, is that in the form of a community meeting or how is that happening?
It's loosey-goosey at this point. They're soliciting community input on how we would like to see it run, but their current contemplation is that they would program it themselves the way they do.
Two River Terrace.
Yeah, similar to Six River Terrace. Six River Terrace. It'll be another community room. You know, as you know, in the parks, they have lots of staff people programming various things. That's their current contemplation. But they don't rule out the possibility of having a contractor running educational classes. I mean, they want it to be, I mean, their contemplation is that it would be sort of consistent with sustainability and, you know, touching nature and so forth. So ideas that go along with that.
This is Justine. If I could just stick in my 2 cents. First of all, thank you for presenting. You showed me how it's done and done right and well. But Andrew, to answer you, and to kind of encourage everyone on this community board, it is loosey-goosey. And this room should be what we want it to be as a community, not just people in Battery Park City, but all of Community Board 1. So whatever the ideas are, they should, you know, let us know, come to the committee and present it, and let's put them forth. Again, nobody knows what the authority is going to end up choosing, but the more ideas we put out there and the more potential uses, the better it is.
So hold on. So what I'm gonna say, Andrew, is what Community Board 1 would like to do is, and we've said this to the Battery Park City Authority, and I know Nick's online, so he'll hear me repeat myself, is to do a working group like we have done it in the past, where the vendors were chosen for Asphalt Green and other things like that, that we did a true partnership with the BPCA to have 2 different working groups, one that works on the restaurant and the things that we'd like to see, and one that works in the community space and all kinds of programming for the things that we'd like to see and do. Because that's the best way, and we can if we do a working group as part of the Battery Park City Committee, we can have members of the public involved and other, you know, maybe the leagues and things like that. It would be a really good opportunity.
And to answer your question,
I'm sorry, if I can just quickly come back on that. The notion of public charrettes like we're doing with the estuarium on October 30th, are those not appropriate for?
I think that they're highly appropriate. We need to get the BPCA to agree to those.
in terms of the finances, we didn't discuss it, but I'm sure you're aware that they have a history of entering into relationship with licensees that turned out not to be financially successful. And so I'm sure that their intention would be to have some degree of confidence that whoever is going to operate the restaurant can actually be financially sustainable in doing so, although they don't want it to be, I mean, at least if you look at the RFEI documentation, it doesn't appear to be seeking out, you know, high-end restaurateurs. It's something that's more similar to the Gino kind of vibe is, I think, what we're looking for.
Okay. Any other questions for Jen? Awesome. Justine, thanks so much. Let's move on. We're gonna go to quality of life. Time check. It's 9:16.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
What I would like to offer for the quality of life team is that we take two of their resolutions together and do one, because you are the last, as roll call.
Okay.
So whichever two you decide.
We can skip 3 points if you want me to. It's up to.
We have time.
It's not 5:15. I'll just say that the first precinct community council meeting is this Thursday, the 26th. It's on Zoom. We have it in our, you can get the information. The Zoom link is in our newsletter, isn't it, Lucy?
Yes.
Yes, so you can get the Zoom. Right, you can get the Zoom. Pace University Construction, we're going to ask them to come back in November. We're also going to see if we can arrange a tour of the building. That's a big problem. Lighting.
Super fast question is, they're still planning on taking down the entire main campus, is that?
They're still doing what?
They're still, this is about the entire main campus.
Yes, internally. It's an internal construction project. Right, but they're taking up 6, they want to take up 6 parking spaces.
Really not talking to you about that.
Yeah. And then the presentation from the DA's office, we're gonna ask them again to come back in December. They gave a great presentation. Some of you may know there was an assault of a young lady, one of our teenagers on Rector Street. It was initially thought that the person who assaulted her was from the Migrant Hotel that's located on the corner of Rector and Washington. That was false information. It was not someone from that hotel. It was a homeless person, unfortunately. We can't go into the details, but that came up because we had the first precinct come to do their every other month report and engage with the community. So in December, the first precinct will be back. Please come. If you don't get to the council meeting, please come to quality of life. So you could ask questions, you can give statistics of what's going on in terms of crime in our community. That's it.
The person was actually not from any CB1 shelter or organization.
Pat, or is that been communicated out, Pat, that it was not from the?
Yeah.
Well, yes, and yes, I'll just say yes.
Not
to go.
Hold on. The victim's mother was in the meeting. She heard everything. It was a whole part of the discussion. So but it's a private, active case.
Right, so we can't discuss.
We will not be discussing that.
But Pat, how would you characterize crime recently? Is it up or down? The streets?
Some crimes are up slightly, other crimes are,
Same.
we live in a fairly safe community.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
most
we're,
cities,
yeah.
compared to other parts of
Yeah.
the city, we live in a.
The
fairly-
retails are the one. the
Yeah,
retail-
they're separate. Everything's locked up.
Mitch?
Just to remind everybody for the pace thing, that they pledged that the 6 or 7 spots that they were taking, that when the project is over, they pledged to do everything in their power.
Yeah, but we wanna try and not have those taken away, so we wanna talk.
They
to
pledged that
the
they
They
would.
would return them,
To put it back.
if they're granted to have them taken away, but we
Well,
would.
let's not discuss that here.
Yeah,
That goes for the walkthrough in committee.
okay, so, no, it's different.
No, I was mentioning that they pledged to be agreeable to that. There was no.
Yeah, that's fine, great. Okay, Mary, I was gonna do the 3
They
minutes.
also said that they would come back and offer a tour.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Which two resolutions are you taking together for a vote by affirmation, and which one are we doing as roll call?
Let's do right to council and World Trade Center Health Program together. So those were completely unanimous.
Perfect.
Call a question.
Wait.
Does anybody have questions on either one of those?
Yes, I have it on the right to counsel. So with the right to counsel, it's assuming that the landlord has an attorney, so.
The landlord does have an attorney. Corporations are required to have an
Yeah.
attorney in civil court cases.
But then let's say it's a small landlord, not a huge development.
They also
They're
have.
still
the
gonna
right-
be made by the court to hire an attorney.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's required. It's only the, yeah,
The tenant.
the tenants
Only the
that
tenant.
tend to be pro se.
Okay.
Tenants can be.
Okay.
The tenants
Any other?
tend to be pro se, but it's.
Because there
it's
is
not.
time
It's, yeah, against
for
their
them
will.
to get-
often.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can I call the question?
Seeing no hands online, hearing the question called, do I hear a second? Awesome. This is gonna be a vote by affirmation, and again, this is right to council and the World Trade Center Health Program. Okay, all in favor? Do I hear any no's? And if so, please state your name and which one.
And where you live.
Hearing no no's, are there any abstentions? Hearing and seeing no abstentions, are there any recusals? Hearing and seeing none, last one, take us home.
All right, just to reiterate first, the World Trade Center Health Program Youth Cohort Resolution will serve as this board's formal comments to be submitted to the federal government, right, to implement.
Yeah.
So the deadline is 10/31, the office I'll work with if you need any additional support from me.
Please work with Zach to get it on letterhead and get it out the.
Okay.
Zach, did you feel the bus coming over you? She threw you under it.
So the New York City retirees save, it's actually not Save Medicare Advantage, it's Save Medicare Choice. I guess that was probably my mistake. Supporting the city council bill 1099. So at this point, there are bills at every stage of government, right? But we've decided to focus on this local bill. So what's happening is about a year ago, many of you, I'm sure, if not all, saw like the headlines like acting Supreme Court judge saves retirees, all of that, right? What's going on? So what had happened at that time is that Judge Lyle Frank had ordered a permanent injunction against the city, protecting municipal workers' choice in their health care. So like when they retire, they move to Florida, they're not all of a sudden getting new co-pays and they're supposed to get everything paid, actually covered. They're not all of a sudden getting like, new co-pays and new premiums, like out of nowhere. The city is now appealing to be able to force everyone into one program, whereas they will have to pay. And a lot of these people have been paying into these unions and, for many, many years, and now they're retired, and so they're not expecting to have to pay again. It's part of their benefits that they were promised when they were hired and when you joined the union and all that. So to support them, 250,000 of them have come together as individuals after some of the, there's over 200 unions that were like polled for this thing. Unfortunately, like 16 of the largest unions in the city voted to support the city's actions. So that left a lot of people like flailing. So 250,000 individual union municipal workers came together and are being organized by this group, New York City Retirees. They put forth to the city council what they were trying to do. City council supports it. Again, like I said, but now at this point, the state legislature supports it as well. There's a Senate bill, there's a Assembly bill, and the federal government supports it. The congressman has a bill as well. Again, we focused on the city one. The reason it didn't pass unanimously is because we had a public member that's a municipal worker. She had to recuse herself, and we had 2 abstentions, but everybody else voted to support it. So
The abstention agreed with you, but she just couldn't vote because she was a public worker.
That's
that's the recusal. Yes, yes. She wanted to support it, but she benefited from it because she plans to retire soon. And she, was looking forward to the choice. So she recused herself because it's a financial benefit.
You're talking about Medicare, I think.
Part D.
Part D.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's
The supplemental.
the supplement.
Supplemental, which is not Part D, it's
It's
the whole.
Part D, but it's a.
Oh,
special-
C, okay.
But it's a special
C.
version.
C.
Okay.
D is just
Oh,
You don't-
yes, it's the A, B, C, D, E, F,
The young
whatever.
don't know.
Okay.
And out there, I was
So
one of
maybe
the,
it can be then.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all of the above. That's where I was making the mistake. It's not just the medicine, it's the
Yeah.
coverage also. Okay.
out there, I was one of the abstentions. I'll be honest, it's more that I was turned off that, like, there's a lobbyist from the AARP that was presenting this to us.
Oh, that's not a lobbyist from AARP. He mentioned the AARP has been in support, but he is a lobbyist, but he's the lobbyist that the New York City retirees hired to help them.
I'm still talking about like lobbyists.
Just to clarify, yeah, he doesn't
Thank
work
you.
for AARP.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
You call the questions?
Yeah, call here.
Second it.
Was that a second?
Does anybody have any questions before we do that?
I think it was, called the question was and seconded.
Oh, fantastic. This is roll call blank. Hold on. Announcements before you roll call, because I know people go joink.
Yeah, because I wanted to make an announcement.
All right,
We know.
Can I go?
go. Do your
Okay,
announcement.
first of all, everybody, please thank Jason for the pizza.
This is great.
Two, please make sure you take all your garbage with you. Number three, for next month, you have to supply your own drinks. You're not gonna
Have
supply.
pizza every month now?
No, but we're not gonna supply the drinks. So if you wanna drink something other than water and not alcohol, bring it yourself, okay? And I think that's all that I need. I mean, did everyone love the pizza?
Yes.
Huh? If not, we can do something
Why did we
else.
do it? We just did it?
No,
Because
it
we've
was
had
all-
tons of grumpy people complaining that they're starving and we get out
Go home
late.
and eat dinner.
Now, we want to end efficiently. We will be roll calling. After roll call, please listen to the office team who will be directing you on if you need to stack chairs.
Okay.
We may not leave any pizza behind. You must clean up after yourself.
Next month, I'm bringing gummies to everybody.
Roll call, let's go.
Blank,
Yes. Blank, yes.
Brown Kennedy,
Brown Kennedy, yes.
Cassell,
So, yes.
Chang,
Yes.
Chapman, Charkoudian,
yes.
Cole,
Cole, yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Foreman,
Please stop talking around the
Lucia.
table and please don't move anything until we're done. Roll call.
Justine on the phone.
I'm on the phone. Kuchia, yes.
You, Erman. Just saw him. Erman, Flores,
yeah.
Flynn,
Yes, Glenn, yes.
Friedman, Perlman,
yes.
Galloway,
Galloway recused.
I'm not go there.
I'll give
Goldstein,
Yes,
Bob,
yes.
James,
James, yes.
Joyce, Jew, Gay, Lewinson, Lynn, stay. Lyon, Mahoney, yes. Abstained. Meltzer, abstained. Inslee, Moore, Tanya,
Abstain.
That's-
Wait, that was me?
yeah,
Korean.
I didn't get there yes, but is there a yes?
I thought that was.
No. Christina Robinson,
Christina Robinson, yes.
Rossi,
Yes.
Shear,
Yeah.
Star,
Star, yes.
Sutton, Jimmy, Pearson, Thompson, Townley.
Yes.
You. Yes. Zelter.
And you have to vote. Take your garbage.
Tanya.
Abstain.
Let's vote out loud.
Right here. There's a recycling bin that says recycling.
Tanya. Vote.
I said I abstain.
So we can't hear you.
You must be louder to vote.
Oh, I abstain.
She abstains.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's-
The stack chair?
It is 9:30. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Recycling bin. The chairs stay around the table. The other.
Okay.